Well, welcome along everyone to WOR Legacy Division. It is qualifiers. Apologies about the 20-minute delay that we've got in terms of starting the stream. We have had so many technical issues you wouldn't believe it. My name, however, is James Head. Joining me in the commentary box as always, it is Mr. Jota himself. And Jota, tonight, it's Legacy Division. Lobby 1 already underway and 4 teams in this lobby. 8 drivers out on track. First of all, how are you doing? And second of all, how are you thinking everything is going to go out on track tonight?
Oh, what a pleasure to be alongside you for this one. I think we're going to be in for an absolute blinder, aren't we, with the WR Legacy qualifiers. Now, plenty of drivers out on the field that are going to want to really push to the absolute maximum they can to qualify alongside the top 3, Team Shizou and Upload Racing and, of course, F7R. Very open up, but a very mixed bag when it comes to those predictions, isn't it?
It is, and you've got one of your predictions in this lobby, as have I. So I've got APL in terms of the lobby, currently sitting 1 and 2, Gavano and Tales, their drivers here tonight. Jesla and Aldo going 3rd and 4th for X Esports. They're your pick in terms of the predictions, and we'll actually run through the predictions as soon as Sony just starts his lap. Sony is just starting his lap now, so we'll run through Sony's lap with this, and then we'll go on board with predictions, and then see... Oh, a Sony has spun already! Coming out of Tarzan at turn number 1. We're going to get to the predictions right now. That's a reset to track as well from Sony. I don't think that'll interfere with anything in terms of that. That is what you expect in terms of qualifiers 1. As I say, X Esports, RCR, EPL, and indeed Strider Esports as well are the 4 teams out on track. And these are the predictions, the very handy predictions are going to add as well. I mean, Jota have gone pretty much safe, I think, in terms of our predictions. X Esports for you, Jota. How you thinking X Esports are going to do out on track tonight?
I think X Esports are going to be ones to keep an eye out on, because I think they've got the sort of collaborative effort within the team that could actually be something that might end up being a bit like what we saw with G League potentially, maybe even ET8 as well. So I'm not saying they're going to be out towards the top, but they are certainly going to be a team I think we've got to keep an eye out on, in my opinion. But nonetheless, I think they are a little bit of a wild card, if you will, compared to the other teams that I think really are going to push the buttons of the top 3. I think NLR, BRT, Novus are pretty set in stone, to be honest with you. TF10 as well. But it's good to see that me and Luke both agree on the top tier motorsport as well, because I think they're going to be ones to watch as well. But you've put yourself in as EPL for this one as well. I'm kind of interested to see what your thoughts are on EPL.
EPL, I've apparently put them in twice. I have put NLR in as my 7th prediction right down at the bottom. It should be NLR's logo rather than L Plan twice. L Plan, I think, have got a very good lobby. When I saw the lineups coming through, Gavano and Tales, I know them pretty well from the PlayStation point of view. And Gavano, of course, WR Reserve. Tales has been PSGL, PSF2. He was runner-up last season there as well. And he has been really putting a name for himself out there as well. Young and up-and-coming talent, like Gavano as well. I think I'm pretty coy on their chances, to be honest. We'll see, of course, as the night progresses, how EPL gets on. Not EFL or anything like that. Not the English Premier League not the English Defence League either, or anything like that. It is L Plan Racing that we've got here tonight. Cavano and Tales out on top. I do realise that I have just said English Defence League on the stream, but Sony now coming through the final corner. 125.1 currently is best. RCR have been good in EML, the league I cover on a Wednesday. They've been very strong in terms of their run. Sony now to the line. Goes 5th position. Actually split the Red Bulls and the McLaren. So looking very decent there from RCR. Haribo on a lap as well. And hopefully this lap will be tanktastic.
Yeah, we're going to be expecting the 108s and 108.7s as well, aren't we, though, in this particular sort of setup. And I think keep an eye out on the performance of those in the Mercedes, certainly RCR Sony, sort of setting that initial barrier, as I said, with a 109.4, with Haribo still on a lap at the moment. Sector 2 split is coming up shortly. Always on the grass, though, and a little bit wide going through those set of corners, then through the left-hander. Easy to spin your car out here in the 2007 V8 era of Formula 1, isn't it? But nonetheless, able to hold on very nicely indeed as he approaches the Sector 2 split. 48.1, and he does go fastest of anyone so far, apparently.
Yeah, looking very good coming through the final couple of corners as well. Now through Ari Lundijk at turn number 14. Ari Lundijk in and Ari Lundijk out, as they're known as in English. Ari Bull now to the line. Goes fourth, splits the Red Bulls. So X Esports there could be in trouble early on. Harry Bull there going fourth. Jeslo, by the way, a 108.4. Aldous Strapoli on a 109.1. But he's just starting up on his lap, actually just in behind Haribo, who's came off that lap. It's Gavano out on top from Talo second. Jeslo there in third with 10 minutes and 20 seconds to go on the clock. Hope you're all doing well. The spreadsheet, by the way, has been put in the stream as well. So if you do want to follow in terms of cumulative times and everyone and the top 7 that might get qualified, the spreadsheet link is in there if you do want to click on that and do want to go through. 154 of you, by the way, tuning in. Yes, I know it might be a little bit laggy. Yes, I know my PC is going to be running overtime here tonight. But put it this way, it is good to see cars out on track. And Aldous Strapoli is in the middle sector right now. The Italian on the run down in towards turn number 11 and 12. And he's 4 tenths up on his lap. Nearly 5 tenths up, in fact. 47.6. Normally expect the big guys to be up around a 47.2, 47.3 in that middle sector. Although now coming through the final couple of corners. Through Ari Lundijk boxed and Ari Lundijk out, or whatever it is. Ari Lundijk booked, I think it is, in Zandvoort. But now on the run to the line, but that was Strapoli. Goes fourth. X Esports once again, third and fourth so far. Currently, that means, as it stands, EPL will be out on top. X Esports will be second, as we've got a migrating host. Absolutely brilliant.
Oh no, that just tops it off, doesn't it? I think that tops off the unfortunate situation, doesn't it, of this particular session. I mean, you may have noticed, obviously, the delay that we've had, isn't it? The 20-minute delay. It's not just as a result of the game, it's also as a result of some technical issues on my side, where apparently I can no longer have an Xbox. But as it stands at the moment, I think we are going to be in for a little bit of a blinder when it comes to the issues that we're facing. And fingers crossed we can get them sorted out, because I hope this doesn't set a precedent for what we've got coming up for the season.
Belby has left the session, which I'm assuming means that we are going to be restarting this very soon indeed. Ron's just came in the chat there. World Online Racing, that's what we are going to do. So we are going to restart, but it actually does give us a very good chance in terms of running through what we've got to look forward to in terms of the lobbies and everything here tonight. I think it might have been the case where Luke has just left the lobby, his Xbox or something has just crashed, and then everything has just gone down the pot. But Lobby 1 will be getting restarted very soon indeed. The times were on the board there. X Esports was very good in terms of the lap times, as were EPL up there. EPL X Esports, along with Stride Esports and RCR, are in Lobby 1. That is at 7 PM, but you can tell, because we're probably going to get a restart within this lobby, and I'll just get confirmation that we are going to get that restart from Lobby 1, and I just haven't left on the whim. But Lobby 1, looking at the grand scheme of things, looking from what we saw there in the session, Jota, L-Plan out on top, X Esports in second, are pretty much how I expected it to go in Lobby 1.
I think these were the two that we were going to be keeping an eye on. There's no disrespect, of course, to RCR and Stride, but X and EPL, I think, were initially setting the foundations, weren't they, to really sort of say, look, we're going to set a precedent in this first lobby. Here is what you've got to do if you want to try and beat us. As I said, I don't expect, and I'm sure you would agree with me, that EPL or X are going to be on top in the end of this qualifier. But we both have contrasting opinion of who we think is going to finish 7th, and I think that's going to make for a little fun time. And you know, I'm just looking at my prediction screen now to say, you know what, the one mistake I am making is not putting G League in there. I think I discredited them far quicker than I should have done, because I think they're going to be spicy, and I think it's lobby 3 for them, isn't it?
I think it is. No, I think it's lobby 4 even for G League, if I'm not mistaken. We've got the graphics, luckily, so we can actually run through who's going to be in what lobby. What apparently is saying is lobby 1 is going to be restarted as it is. So we are going to restart just with the 8 drivers. Luke mentioned in the Discord that we were going to possibly combine lobbies, but then that could have created the issue of the whole illegal blocking and getting that 5-second penalty removed and things like that. So to keep it stable, we are going to go, hopefully very shortly indeed. Apparently the lobby is open. I haven't received an invite just yet, but the lobby is open, so we will get into that very soon indeed. Harvey there asking in the chat, I think that's Ace, if I'm not mistaken, the WOR console commentator himself in the chat, saying what happened. Luke's Xbox or something just decided to die on him, and the whole lobby got reset. Everyone was in AI mode, and that was absolutely fun as anything. But we're going to get started very soon indeed. What we can do, though, with an eye on Lobby 2, I know it says 7:30 on the graphic. It will be more towards 8 o'clock. Lobby 2 does have quite a lot of talented drivers in and a lot of talented teams in as well. BRT, very familiar figures, of course, last season. I think they finished 5th, if I'm not mistaken, last season in terms of the standings. TTM in there, League de Legend are in there as well, the French outfit, NLR Esports, Team TF10, and Formula Next Generation, which is a brand new esports partnership with, I think, a league, and they're coming in, of course, for Lobby 2. And looking at that Lobby 2 graphic, while I just accept this invite from Mr. Luke Humphries himself, Lobby 2 is probably the more stacked, I think, out of the lobbies that we do have here tonight.
I think, yeah, I mean, I'm certainly looking forward to seeing what we've got coming up with the likes of TF10 and NLR and I think BRT. I've always been a big fan of the Bunga Racing team as well, actually, in Lobby 2. So I think they're going to be ones. I actually, perhaps over optimistically, put them quite high up. I think in the second. In the last season, but they just couldn't find the form. But I think a lot of the teams, to be fair, in Legacy Division last season couldn't really find a proper set of form, could they? So this is going to be a fun time, I think. We're going to be in a position where I think we're going to see the best team are going to be the one that's going to be the most consistent. I'm hoping the likes of BRT are going to be the ones to watch. And always a pleasure to see TF10 as well. Going to be interesting to see if they qualify, what's going to happen.
TF10 were one of the big shocks, I think, last season. I was having a look through qualifiers from last season and season 3. And Team TF10, I think, qualified 12th overall, if I'm not mistaken, which is a huge shock. They got completely underneath the cosh. Had one very, very consistent driver, the other not really getting the lap time in. And it just comes to show that anything can happen in terms of these events. Anything can and will happen. And Team TF10, I've put them down in my predictions as one of the ones to follow. NLR as well are in there. BRT are in there for me. You've put TTM in there as well, if I'm not mistaken. Just going to look at the predictions quickly. Yeah, you've got TTM in there. Zach Oates and Mr. PR Stonks himself are going to be racing there tonight for TTM. How do you think of their chances coming into tonight? Because they are well known on Xbox. However, for PlayStation viewers, might not necessarily know who they are.
Yeah, TTM are an impeccable force at the front, aren't they? And I'm expecting them and and I think NLR especially as well to be sort of quite close. I think for that sort of battle. I think they both qualify, but I think they're going to be very close. And I think you'd expect from them, perhaps a midfield battle, but I think they're going to be in for some sharp wins this year if they qualify. So keep an eye out, I think, on TTM because I think they're going to be the ones that are going to be when the mistakes happen from those at the front three that that might be common that we saw last season. I do think TTM are going to be the team that are going to be they're going to be the Alpine, aren't they? They're going to be the ones that swallow up all the points of those at the front and really, really, push their distance between those in the midfield. So I think they're going to be ones alongside perhaps NLR that are going to sort of earn the big points here. I expect Novus to be up there as well, but they're the kind of team I think that just sort of decides, yeah, we'll swallow your points if you're going to make that mistake.
Jim's cooking. Yeah, ruthless, definitely. G League, I think, was my prediction that I put in qualifiers. Nobody had hoped that they would actually get through. And then they ended up qualifying through and then finishing, I think, in 8th position in the end in Legacy Division. So they did a fantastic job last season. Jim's cooking channel, by the way, I promise it is not me as the cooking channel there in the chat. I think it's one of the BRT members, if I'm not mistaken. That might be Lou, actually. TTM will be up there tonight for sure. Oates and Stonks is a cracking qualifying pair. And yes, they are very, very quick in terms of their whole grand scheme of things and in terms of their pace. And it all comes down, because we've got no racing here tonight, no 50% action, it all comes down essentially to one-shot qualifying and the drivers holding their nerve.
Yeah, and that's what it is, isn't it? I mean, it's one thing. I think this is where G League is the biggest example of this, isn't it? Because they're a kind of team that end up pushing their way towards a really, 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 fantastic qualifying, but their race pace doesn't really match that. So this is where, you would throw out your fastest drivers. If the consistency isn't there at this point in the tournament, that's not going to matter. So it's all about sort of setting that first initial pace, but the teams are going to want to make sure that they have some consistency if they qualify, because £1,000 prize pool, they're going to want to have a little chunk of that pie.
Oh yeah, £1,000 prize pool. Everyone is going to go for that money, quite literally, in WORLD. A big thank you, of course, to our sponsors, Next Level Racing in GridFinder, who you will see very soon indeed in terms of the adverts. I can say Jota is in the lobby, which I'm delighted to report. That is the absolute miracle that has happened here tonight. Sony is in the lobby now as well, so we can get underway for Lobby 1 once again, with an eye to a little bit later on, again, in probably about an hour's time, I would think. Lobby 3 at 8 o'clock. FRC Esports are in, along with, and I'm trying to remember for the life of me who they are, IRT Esports, FRT, who qualified, of course, last season, Novus Racing, probably the standouts, I think, in that lineup. WOR Esports, they've got a strong lineup, could potentially cause a shock. And XPG Esports, who, of course, branded out onto the F1 side recently, they have got a team and a pairing of very good drivers here tonight as well. But looking at Lobby 3, Novus Racing, gonna be the ones to watch out for. They've got BRT Gabor, who took a podium last season, and they've got Liam Bowman, who took a race win last season. So if that's anything to go by, Novus Racing should be pretty easy in terms of qualifying.
Yeah, Nova should be probably around about the pace of what you'd expect from NLR plus, maybe, sorry, rather minus, maybe a couple of tenths. I think Novus are going to be definitely front of the midfielders. They may even challenge third place this year, but it all depends on the sort of consistency of the likes of Shazoo, F7R, and Outplayed Racing. And a big sorry to my friends over at Future Racing Team as well. I usually do stick them in there, but I just think with how stacked these qualifiers are, I think they are going to miss out, but I do think it's going to be close.
Yeah, FRT very, very strong, of course, in qualifying last season. As you can see on your screen, by the way, right now, we are going to get underway for Lobby 1 once again. Shadow asking in the Discord as well, is there a moderator or do we have to screenshot and send it to you? I think all the times, as far as we know, because we've got the spreadsheet and everything, as far as we know, all of the times get added up, and then by the end, everyone will know who was qualifying. Of course, there will be Steward reports put in, there could be illegal blocking in there. That's why I put on Twitter a little bit earlier on. Watch out for the drama, watch out for the controversy, watch out for the brilliant action that we're going to have out on track as well. These drivers will know no bounds, they can get their setups in, and we're about to get underway once again for Lobby 1. And a reminder of how we set just before Lobby 1 got restarted. It was EPL out on top, it was Tales from Gavano the front two, then Jez Laurinello Strapoli third and fourth, but we saw, in the end, Haribo come in with a very good lap for RCR, and really put it in there for RCR. So maybe do not discount the RCR team in this lobby.
Never discredit RCR, to be fair. They are a team that sort of find their pace, you know, as this sort of session goes on. And I think that is just going to be something that will only benefit them with a restart. Because, of course, now they're in this position where they've had, what was it, around about 8 minutes worth of sort of track time. That is going to give them a massive boost, I would expect, from RCR moving forward. So X have certainly got to keep their eyes out behind them here, because I would expect that RCR are going to find a little bit of pace out there. Now they've had a little bit of maybe a practice run, shall we say, in that first run. Hopefully, fingers crossed, this won't be a practice. Now we can actually get on with a bit of qualifying.
Hopefully not. Hopefully this is going to be it. Hopefully this is Lobby 1. Luke Humphries has left the session, by the way, as well. The World Darts Champion, of course, from just a couple of weeks ago when he got crowned. Hopefully Luke is doing well with that 500 grand and possibly putting that into the prize pool for WOR Legacy Division as well. But we are going to see, as the McLaren there passing on the left-hand side gets through on Gavano, who was the first out on track. Clearly, Stride Esports want to get on with things, and it's Tyler who wants to get on with things now, coming through the final corner. Ari Lundijk in, and then Ari Lundijk out at the final corner on the run toward the line. And he's already used up about 20% of EOS before this lap has even begun. So this is going to be very, very hard towards the end of the lap, certainly, for him to try and save up some of that EOS up. And that is a big importance around here at a track like Zandvoort. Coming now through the right-hander into the banking now of turn number 3, and then in towards up the hill through turn 4, and in towards my favourite section out on track. Trust me, I spun here plenty of times before on time trial. Run up the hill into Lodge Skyflak at turn number 7, and a 24.222. All the twos for Tyler so far in terms of this lap. As he now comes through the right-hander of turn number 8, and then in toward the right-hander of turn number 9. And this is where the low-level grip will really kick in terms of the car. The oversteer could kick in. Coming out of turn number 10 as well. We found that out in the classic cars in our challenge that we're going to be doing this season as well. And Tyler coming toward the end of the middle sector. 47.999. Not the number that Tyler wants to be ringing, certainly by the end of this session. But now comes through the left-hander of turn number 12. In towards Ari Lundijk in at turn 13. And Ari Lundijk out at turn 14. Now through the banking, which has been reprofiled, of course, for the Dutch Grand Prix in 2020, the first ever running of that Grand Prix in its new format. 109 flat to start off the night. Tyler already looking quite quick.
Yeah, looking super quick out there at the moment now with Tyler. But here comes Giovanno coming across the line, 1:08 0-1-6. We are expecting the 7s to be breached pretty early on, but the Aston Martin pairing looking like they're immediately wanting to show in their pace. X under pressure, but once again, 3rd and 4th for them. So a little bit more of the same, I think, out there at the moment, as they're just keeping an eye out on Sony, who has invalidated his lap for RCR. So that little bit of consistency that I think that would have benefited them suddenly out the window, probably because he's wearing a Ferrari helmet and Mercedes.
He's there down and created the race concept racer. I'm not going to take too lightly to that comment, put it that way. But it's a good job they are French. It's a good job we are doing English commentary here tonight as well. We don't want to offend anyone, regardless of language. We really hope you are enjoying it, by the way. 4 minutes going in Lobby 1, and it's Gavano out on top from Tales in 2nd, Aldo Strapoli there in 3rd. So once again, EPL out on top of Gavano, Tales 2nd, then X Esports 3rd and 4th right now, and then Harry Bowl 5th, Tyler in 6th, Napple there in 7th, and Sony there in 8th position as well. We will run through, by the way, Lobby 4 a little bit later on as well. We know we've missed quite a few teams out of Lobby 4 in terms of that. Sem also saying as well, these commentators can start by Viaplay. I will take that, to be honest. I will get my commentary debut in Formula 1 in real life very, very shortly indeed. I'm really glad you are enjoying it, Sem, as there's a big cooking action there from Sony coming into turn 12, nearly spun the car.
Cooking the car, isn't he, through these corners? I'm absolutely loving what I'm seeing at the moment with Sony. Absolutely throwing at everything but the kitchen sink at this lap here. But here he comes then, as he comes across the line right now, and it's only 7th fastest. So it was very aggressive from the driver, but unfortunately Sony's not able to capitalise on an aggressive lap, and he's only down in 7th with a 109.2. So a bit over 3/10 faster than Napple. But as it stands so far, again, EPL legging it out there at the moment, but we're still expecting a 107 at some point. 12 minutes to go.
Yeah, Sony, by the way, as well, only getting outdone by Tyler on Xbox, so that is not going to look pretty well from Sony's perspective, certainly from a financial perspective, put it that way. That is a terrible pun. I know I would probably go to the dungeons just for that. Gavano out on top from Talas 2nd, Aldous Tripoli there in 3rd. Kenzie, by the way, saying in the chat, can we skip this lobby? Unfortunately, no. I wish we could as well. We are running half an hour late, but unfortunately we can't. Have to get these lap times in, of course, on the drivers out on track. But we have only got, well, we've got 6 minutes gone, 12 minutes still remaining, and possibly as well, which we forgot to actually come on to here for qualifying tonight, possibility Jota for 4 runs here in qualifying.
4 runs, exactly. That's the beauty of going around a circuit with very little in the way of tarmac, isn't it? So this is giving everyone an opportunity to use up all their softs as long as that they select the softest compound of tyre available. Sector 2 yellow flags away for a slow car. I believe it's one of the Astons. As I'm just keeping an eye out on Tyler, he'll be the first of this second set of runners to set a lap. But it looks like to me that we're going to be starting to see the 107s incoming any second now, I would suspect. Tyler just coming across now in through the banked corner. That big right-hander, the sweeping right-hander of turn 14 to get going for his lap here. And tell you what, it's just reminding me as well of just us driving around with these F1 2007 cars, wasn't it? Remember the little challenge that we did going around here? This is where we really felt the pressure of throwing the car around, and with the bigger cars now, you'd expect that the track out there is going to be particularly more difficult around the cambered corners.
Definitely so, yeah. Tyler running up the hill now in towards Skyflacker turn number 7. Should be around a 24-1 in the first sector, and he's dead on. 24-1 in that first sector, a 10th improvement. Normally from lap to lap, you can find about 3-4 tenths improvement. I want to show off around here as well, because I won around here in League of Europe back in the day as well, by about 2.5 seconds, and a 108.2 was my pole lap as well around here. So I wouldn't actually look too out of shape, to be honest, in this lobby, as Tyler is 1200ths down, coming through that middle sector split, now coming through, running over the gravel, actually, on the inside, coming through turn number 12, takes that little bit of curb, really puts the car completely off, and now coming through Harry Lundike in, Harry Lundike out, for turns 13 and 14, through the banking he comes, might get a minimal improvement, but no, he decides to back off, and to be honest, yeah, to be honest, though, I think that's the best thing to do. I don't think he was improving anyways.
Yeah, no, it was an expectation, I think, to dive into the pit lane, just abandon that lap and get another couple of runs in, potentially swap onto a set of new tyres now as we just go past the 10-minute mark. Less than 10 minutes to go here in this particular qualifying lap. Next person to set a lap time will be Napple. He's nearly a second up in the second sector, who's flying out there at the moment on this second run, is Napple. And that, of course, that is going to be a massive benefit to the team in Stride. Here he comes then through the right-hander, striding away towards... That was poor. I'm going to give up with that as well, actually. As he comes across the line with the DRS open and sets his lap time and goes fourth fastest with a 1:08.2 of his own. So only just... splitting the two X drivers, but certainly starting to show a little bit of pace now is Stride.
Jeslar showing a bit of pace as well. 108.163 goes behind Tales by only 7,000ths of a second. Tales had invalidated coming out of Skyflack at turn 7. He backed off through turn number 8 as a result. Tales not improving on that second run. Jeslar did improve though. Very, very good indeed. Out there in fourth, doing a good job for X Esports. And Napple grappling that car into P5 right now. Harry Bow on the run up the hill I think has just improved on a lap, a 108.433, so he's definitely going to be getting some sweeties coming his way later on in this session. Sony is on a lap as well right now for RCR. It's Gavano from Tales, from Jeslar, from Aldo, the top 4 as it stands. Kenzie also saying, by the way, in the chat, Bell Roffox would fit in quite nicely around here. I think he would as well. Have to see Mr. League Racing Review himself out there on track. I will definitely pay for that. If FRT now go and change their lineup a little bit later on, and Belrofix is in there, I will definitely be happy with that.
Unfortunate set of events, by the way, for Aldo Stripoli from the Team X, by the way. He's actually ran out of fuel on his hot lap, so it looks like he is not going to be completing that one. And into the pits, he'll come with his teammates. A little bit of a delay happening between X there, but excuse me, plenty of time to get going in this one here. Still waiting on Sony to set a representative lap time, I would suggest. It comes across the line right now to start and end his current lap, 1:08.8. Now managing to beat Tyler, RCR 6th and 7th.
Yeah, definitely. So people are going to make fun, by the way, of my Belroffox pronunciation. If you told me how I could pronounce it, that'll be even better. However, we've got...
Fox.
Belroffox? No.
Bolero Fox. There's Bolero, as in like the dance. Bolero Fox.
Bolero Fox, okay.
We'll go with that. We'll go with that.
Maybe he's got a bit of Torval and Dean about him. Who knows?
Oh, James, come on.
That is to people of a certain age, by the way, if you don't know who Torval and Dean are. Tyler running up the hill, by the way, in towards Sky Flack at turn number 7, and he's a 10th up through the first sector, so looking very good, of course, for Stride Esports, looking to try and take it in their stride here tonight as well. These puns are getting worse and worse, by the way.
Oh, I feel ill, James.
It's not Legacy Division. At least it's qualifiers, and we can get all of the puns out of the way now.
Get them out early. Get them out early, please. Let the viewers not just suffer early on, and we'll get on with it throughout the rest of the tournament. Love it.
Tyler, by the way, up in the middle sector still, 200ths of a second up. Definitely going to be happening in terms of this lap time. Lobby 2, by the way, is getting set up right now, so we should get a quick transition into Lobby 2. We'll remind you, of course, who's in Lobby 2 a little bit later on. Tyler, though, now running on towards the end of his run, and a 1:08.9, improved by nearly a 10th of a second. Behind Sony by a 10th, it'll buoy him with confidence, but he does need more, I think, to try and get Stride Esports through.
Stride are in a bit of a weird state of affairs at the moment, because I can't help but feel that Tyler is just absolutely obliterating every little bit of VRS he's got prior to him actually starting a lap. I don't think he's sort of targeting using his ERS, obviously, on the hot laps and obviously harvesting the energy. He's on a slow lap now, but you can see, look, 1, 2, 2, 1, 0. He's out of ERS. So I think the Stride would do wise to tell the teammate, hit their respective driver, start fiddling with the settings on your controller, please, buddy, because we really need to save the electrical energy in the back of this Mercedes power unit in the McLaren.
Yeah, definitely. So Tales, by the way, now coming through the final corner. The Brazilian, the PSGL PSF2 man on the run toward the line. We'll see what Tales can do on this run. And he does improve by a 10th of a second. Found a lot of time, actually, in that final sector, so looked pretty good. Gavano, though, was finding even more time. The Dutchman cooking on his home track, a 47.1 in that middle sector. So Gavano, with a young, talented team, have EPL got. Gavano certainly looked to try and set the benchmark here in Zandvoort. Could be the first 107 of the night as well. This is looking very good from Gavano on the run to the line. He gives and takes, and it's a 107.8. Big lap time from Gavano coming in there. And that, I think, was what was referenced as a benchmark time. So Gavano, 107.8, putting that benchmark down. EPL, I've got to say, drivers in lobbies 2, 3, and 4, you've got to up your game because it could be quite difficult to beat that.
Jezlar for Team X, though, 2.5 tenths up in the first sector alone here. He's going through the second sector now, and he's absolutely chucking the car through the set of corners here. No lockups to be heard of through the right-hander there, and actually on the power so early through the low traction corners. He's going to come across the second sector 2 split right in a few short moments, and in that situation, I think you're going to be seeing some purple here, and he is purple, and he's up just by only 0.5 tenth, though. So going to be really, really close here. That first sector was obviously something that he was looking for. He's certainly found it, going through turn 13 then, and then going through 14, and we're going to be expecting, hopefully, a quick lap here coming in from Team X here. Jezlar going to come across the line and set the initial precedent, though, for Giovanno as he comes across now and only goes second fastest. But look how close it is between the two of them. It's less than 1.5 tenths then. So third sector's where he lost it all. And then, pardon me, my screen is now just completely balked on me, and he's now third fastest, apparently. Interesting.
No, he is third fastest. He is third fastest. I was going to correct you anyways, but it is third fastest for Jezlar. But Jezlar's got very good experience, though. I said in my notes a little bit earlier on, Jezlar looks very, very good in terms of being a driver within X Esports. He's given very good performances in Esports Masters League, the league that I cover on a Wednesday, which is on tomorrow, by the way. Jezlar's not going to be racing in that, but Jezlar has got very good pace there, and he is a very good asset to have for X Esports, and you put them in as one of your predictions, one of your 7 to go through. At the minute, getting trumped by my predictions, to be honest, in terms of EPL. But Jezlar and Aldo Stripoli for X Esports looking pretty top-notch, and teams there, even with a 108 flat, 108-1 as a benchmark, could be quite difficult to beat still.
You know what? I'm just seeing that. For some reason, I've now got Haribo 4th fastest on my screen, but your screen says something completely different. So I'm just going to stick with what I'm seeing on stream at the moment, because clearly there's some kind of weird synchronization thing happening. But you are right. I think Jezlar, I think what it is, X need to find a 107 now, don't they? I mean, it doesn't help that, you know, Stripoli is in. Stripoli at the moment is in a position where 108-1's good, but it could make or break the team from qualifying or not. So Jezlar needs to dig deep and find a 107.9 here, because then if Stripoli doesn't manage to improve on his 108.1, it will give X Esports a good chance of being able to qualify, perhaps alongside EPL, which means we'll both be right, but we'll both be wrong. Someone would end up being knocked out as a result of that one. So bit of a mixed bag here, and actually in lobby 1 immediately out the blocks, it's suggesting that it's going to be really close. It's going to go down to 100th of a second who qualifies and who doesn't here, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So Jezlar as well, just to add a little bit more information, he was WOR Tier 5 champion back in the day as well. So Jezlar has got good experience coming into that. I think it was season 13, if I'm not mistaken, he picked that up. That is going completely back into my archives in terms of my notes, but still, Jezlar there in third, looking very, very strong indeed. Strad Esports have lost Tyler. I think he's just rejoined the lobby, so hopefully that doesn't cause any issues. I think we are right down at the nitty-gritty, though, of this session. Strad Esports, though, obviously, they participate in Worldwide Series before Napple and Tyler being their drivers. Their first time qualifying. Napple there in 5th, Tyler there in 8th. Tyler, honestly, I think needs to be given Napple setup, because Napple, 7 tenths quicker, clearly something is working on his car compared to Tyler's further down the field in 8th position, as Thales now rounds the final corner for EPL, the English Premier League man now coming down in towards turn 1.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see then as Thales will start his lap, then going through into turn 1, then through Tarzan into Gerlach in turn 2, and then Hugenholtz at 3. So this is where we're now going to see, I think, drivers really now push the limits of the cars. Of course, they haven't got a lot of time to set a lap here. If Thales makes a mistake, he will have, I think, perhaps maybe a second or 2 delta to try and get around and have another go. But I think everyone else behind is on their final lap here. So we'll see how Thales goes through there. He's a little bit more conservative, isn't he, actually, going through that set of corners, onto the curb, though, through there, mounts the curb through the right-hand side, on the power early, loses the rear ever so slightly, perhaps, as he goes through then the left-hander, of turn number 10, and then going through into 11, DRS wide open. This Aston Martin is now going to be pushing hard here, as he's found 0.5 tenth, goes purple, apparently, in the second sector. He is going to be beating, then, his teammates, if that is the case. Going through the right-hander, then, of 13, and then into 14, it's going to be one to watch here. Is it going to be, and will it remain, an EPL 1-2 in lobby 1 as he comes across the line right now? Which way is he going to go? Stays P2, but he will have a couple of seconds to have another go, but he's out of fuel, and I think that will be it for Thales.
Yeah, Gavano was down by 5,000ths of a second in that middle sector as well. He's down by a tenth, actually, on his former middle sector. So Gavano has clearly made a mistake coming through that part of the track. He's on the run to the line there now, though, for EPL. And he goes 600s. Actually sets the fastest final sector out of everyone. Doesn't improve, though. Jeslo, though, the former WOR champion, is on the move. He's there, up by 900ths of a second in the first sector. Coming towards the end of the middle sector split. X Esports looking quite good, although up as well. As you report, 700ths up for him. Napple, I think, is also up as he now comes through the final corner, looking very, very consistent indeed for Jeslo Ronaldo. But he's invalid coming through the final corner. Napple isn't, though, on the run to the line. Goes full, splits the X Esports pairing. Jeslo now through the final corner. 700ths up from that middle sector. The former WOR Tier 5 champion on the run to the line. A 108 flat in the end. Doesn't find the time at all. Tidal there's 2/10 down. I think he's not going to be improving in the end. It is Gavano out on top. Tales there in second. He's not on a run. Jeslo there in third. EPL come out on top in Lobby 1. That is going to set them, in terms of an average time, very well indeed later on.
That's massive. That's massive, that for X, because now Stripoli invalidating at turn 13 on that very final opportunity. He could have invalidated that. He was definitely in the realms of getting into the 107.9s, if not the low 108s. Would have given X a good chance of winning this one. Of course, remember, don't worry about the positions. It's about qualifying here. X have still got an outside chance, I would suspect, if people make mistakes. But I think that little invalidation there for Stripoli might have cost X an opportunity to qualify. We will see, though.
And it could be the case where Joss has already got one of his predictions wrong as well.
Yeah, now I'm going to have to take the L on that one, aren't I? Because there's me thinking, oh, I know PlayStation, I know, but I'll just stick in my lane.
I would say leave it to the expert, but then again, I'm no expert, to be honest, in terms of PlayStation commentary either. So we're both as bad as each other, certainly in terms of the predictions. But what we can do is confirm the results, of course, from Lobby 1. Lobby 2, by the way, is already up, so we are going to get into Lobby 2 very shortly indeed. Gavano out on top for EPL, along with Tales there in second. Very good young pairing, 1 and 2 for Lobby 1. Jeslo there in third for X Esports. Napple there in fourth for Stride Esports, one of their better drivers in their team. Fantastic performance from him, and actually outdoing Aldous Tripoli there in fifth. Haribo there in sixth, with Sony there in seventh for RCR. They are going to be probably not qualifying towards the end. Never know what can happen, though, in the final couple of lobbies. Tidal there in 8th position as well. Did a good job, just a little bit off pace in the end, a second off in terms of the lap times. What we are going to do, though, just briefly, is get the Lobby 2 graphic up while we, of course, progress into Lobby 2 and rejoin very soon. We are going to be doing quick turnarounds in terms of lobbies as well. Luke Humphries on about making time currently. But Lobby 2, Jota, I'm excited about this because we've got, I think, jointly between us, 4 of our predictions in this lobby.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big one, isn't it? Now, obviously, we've got the likes of BRT, TTM, NLR, TF10. We've got Formula Next Generation, and we've got LDL in here as well. So I think, no disrespect to LDL and the Formula Next Generation, but being in this lobby at the moment, I think they're going to be, one of two ways, they're going to be under a lot of pressure, or they're going to see this as an opportunity. If they can out-qualify any of the drivers in that top 4, they're going to be smiling from ear to ear in this one. So maybe a little bit of pressure, but an opportunity for those two. TF10, they've got a bit of pressure themselves, aren't they? They're going to want to try and really push to qualify this time. They missed out last year. There was a real opportunity for them to do so. They ended up messing up the qualifying, so they're going to want to learn from those mistakes for this season. I still think Top Tier Motorsport are going to be one to watch as well. I think they're going to be ones to watch in qualifying. But as always, NLR and BRT, I do think they will qualify. I think they're going to be ones that we're going to be seeing towards the top. But let's see what happens. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more 107s this time.
Liam, by the way, in the chat saying we want Like Humphreys in the comms box. I wish Like Humphreys was an actual person. Luke Humphreys, if you're talking about, I think is going to be very, very busy. So I don't think we're going to get him in the comms box here tonight. But what we are going to do is, well, certainly from my perspective anyway, is get into Lobby 2 because I need to accept the invite and not waffle on anymore. To run through, by the way, the lobby for Lobby 2, the lineup for Lobby 2 for each team. Joe Murphy in for BRT, of course, podium setter last season in Singapore, finished third in Singapore behind Nando, I think it was that day. He is alongside BRT Lou, another one that featured as part of the Bunga Racing team lineup from last season, as I there joined the lobby. Top Tier Motorsport have got Stonks and Oates in, both very familiar names to WOR. Stonks, of course, former, I think, current reserve driver, if I'm not mistaken, and raced for FRA back in the day as well in Season 1. Leaked a Legend in for LDL, Nico and Kilcree, two former Team Mentalism drivers in there as well. They've recently been crowned 24-hour GT10 champions as well, so they could be an interesting name to watch out for in terms of Lobby 2. Neverlast Racing Esports, NLR, one of my predictions, not like EPL putting them twice on the graphic. Daddlepad, former OP driver, and Alex Marciano, young and upcoming talent for NLR. He is in there for NLR. Team TF10 have got very good experience in terms of their lineup. TF10 2D and Max Groves' partner, the PSGL PSF1 champion in Season 33, now racing on PC. We are very fortunate to have him here for Veloce Academy, man, taken up by TF10 as a wild card. They're using their wild card here in terms of qualifiers and getting Max on the team. Very, very shrewd indeed. And Formula Next Generation NXT, not the WWE development drive that they have, or the development phase that they have in wrestling. NXT Verstappen and NXT Marek are the drivers there as well. NXT, by the way, are in the Ferrari, AlphaTauri for Team TF10, NLR for Mercedes, Nico and Kilcree in for LDL in the Red Bulls, Oates and Stonks in the McLarens, and then Lou and Joe Murphy in the Aston Martins for BRT. Hope you got that. I'm not going to repeat that once again. We will run through the lobby very soon indeed. But looking at that, it is a stacked and packed lobby, Jota.
Sorry, I missed that. Could you just go through the list again?
I'm not even going to dare. I'm not even daring.
It's, you know what? It is a really stacked lobby, though, isn't it? We've got a serious contenders now, you know, that are going to be fighting it out for a qualifying spot. And I think there is going to be a lot of pressure on those towards the back to try and compete with the ones towards, you know, the top four. However, I do think that if we see something similar to what we had with TF10 last year, you know, we are going to see some shock fallers. I can't see BRT not qualifying. I can't see NLR not qualifying. But, you know, in those scenarios, you make one mistake, or a driver makes one mistake. And remember, it's not even just in the form of making a mistake on circuit as a result of their lap. They could also block someone else's lap, and that penalty is horrendous when it comes to qualifying. So let's see what we've got coming up, because I think we're going to be in for an absolute blind. I'm just going through the list of drivers myself as well, just to sort of keep myself in the mood with this one. With Daddlepad, I think we're going to expect some big things from him. You're right about you know, Max Gross Pointner as well, obviously, for TF10. But it's always a big fan as well to see Oxtez in a car, in a lobby. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got alongside Stonks. We're going to be in for a blinder.
Oxtez, by the way, I think, was he former F1 Esports Challengers back in the day?
We don't talk about that. I don't think we talk about that, because I think there's a bit of history with him, isn't there?
Didn't he get removed from the grid in round 2 in 2021?
No, he didn't. No. Oh, dear.
I have put that in my notes, by the way, as a fact for him, so I couldn't really find anything more about him, but there we are. We've said it on the stream. Dan Hawkins, if you're watching, get him back in next season. There you go.
Yes. I am dying on that hill with you.
Anyways, though, what we can do is bring you the on-track action, because we are getting ready up. We are getting readied up now for Lobby 2. Xbox Tier 1 winner as well is the main highlight for Oxtez, says Luke Humphries there in the chat. Plenty of people liking my WWE joke, by the way, as well. Hopefully, drivers can see each other. Hopefully, their time is now, unlike John Cena. But we are going to see who is going to be the ultimate GOAT out on track here in terms of Lobby 2. And let's see how the drivers are going to fare out on track. Now, this is big in terms of our predictions, because a reminder of the predictions before we transition there into the lobby. I have got NLR in, not EPL, in for Lobby 2. I've also got BRT and indeed Team TF10 in this lobby as well. And you, I think, Jota, have also got BRT in along with Team TF10, TTM and NLR. So this lobby is going to hang quite literally on both of us in terms of the predictions.
Yeah, I'm expecting this lobby to be pretty large when it comes to the amount of people qualifying, so I think we're going to see the blisteringly quick lap times that perhaps we're going to expect from the fastest drivers out here. This is why I do have a little soft spot, I think, for the likes you know, of LDL and NXT, because I think they're going to be in a position where they might feel a little bit of pressure out here tonight. But you know what? If one of them does manage to out-qualify any of the drivers that are in the 4 teams, as aforementioned, I think they may have something to smile about. So let's see what we've got coming up in this 18-minute lobby.
Yeah, let's see. Indeed, 2D being the first man out on track, a very familiar name to you and me, of course, in console tier 1. Also, if you've been watching the European Esports Championship, he actually raced around here just before Christmas. 2D is part of Team Romania, so 2D has got some good form coming into tonight. I think he finished 5th that day, if I'm not mistaken. Got beat off Jerry Van Bussel and indeed Tycho Hardy that day as well. But a very experienced driver on his day. He raced for VSR in Season 2. May God have mercy on VSR's soul, because we missed them within the sim racing community. But with him being second in WR Tier 2 as well, Jota, currently, 2D has got good form coming into tonight, especially with the race win for his name in console Tier 2.
Yeah, he does. I'm looking forward to seeing what 2D's got actually up his sleeve, because he is going to be... I think he's probably going to be one towards the top, isn't he? He's the one in form. He's powering on. He's able to put the pressure, you know, on the front runners. I did say that I wouldn't expect, you know, NLR or BRT not to qualify here, but with the likes of 2D stepping in and able to really push the pressure on those towards the front, if they end up making a mistake in this one, they could end up, you know, being that shock TF10 knockout, you know what I mean? So let's see what we've got coming up here with the drivers now getting themselves ready, and the first lap's going on the board, starting with the man himself, Tudy.
Let's see what the Romanian can do then on the run down in towards turn number 1 through Tarzan corner, now in towards Hugenholtz at turn number 3, and 2D looking very, very strong, certainly on this lap. You can take the banking a lot more deep coming through turn number 4 these days, as per real life, where they go round the outside of the banking. Now up the hill and towards Skyflack at turn number 7, end of the first sector, 23.9. Already in the first sector is miles above Lobby 1. This is a cooking lap so far from 2D, and this is looking very, very strong as he now comes in toward the right-hander at turn number 9. Then at the Circuit Danvault corner, nearly spins the car coming out of turn number 9. Now through the Circuit Danvault corner at turn number 10, and in toward the end of the middle sector. 2D is cooking on this lap, and he's looking very good. A 47.4 in the middle sector, pretty much on par with what we saw at the end of the session. This is already class above what we saw in Lobby 1, and 2D now for Team TF10 comes through the final corner. The Romania now trying to hang this all the way toward the line. Now through Ari Lundijk in, and Ari Lundijk out at turn 14. On the run to the line with 2D. Should be around a 108 flat. It's not. It's a 108.2. But that is already cast sky above the first best runs, certainly compared to Lobby 1. Brilliant lap.
Yeah, looking forward to this one. Here comes Stonks as he comes across the line. First of the McLarens goes fastest with a 108.0. Incredibly quick lap times coming in straight away from top tier motorsport, as I thought would happen. Oxtez also coming across the line as well. Gross Pointer coming across the line. 107.8. This is exactly what I expected from Lobby 2. Then Oxtez comes across the line. Where's he going to put himself? Only 7th fastest with a 108.4. More time to find. It is going to be make or breaker for TTM if Oxtez is down by that margin.
People saying in the chat it was a very bad lap for 2D. Maybe tend to agree now, to be honest. He's there in 5th position, already with Max Grohl's partner and Stonks in the 107s and the 108s respectively. They have got a mountain to climb in the mid-pack already in terms of the lap time. Alex Marciano could potentially be in trouble. NLR, to be fair, my one real worry is Verstappen and Marek, they're just finishing up on their laps as well, 8th and 10th position. But my worry about NLR, and this is why I didn't want to put them in terms of my predictions, I think I'm not going to be dishonest to NLR. I'm just going to say it how it is. Daddlepad is a very quick driver. Alex Marciano was a young and upcoming talent. And for me, NLR should have put a stronger lineup in. That's just for me. I have put them in my predictions. I look forward to seeing them how they're going to prove me wrong in the next 18 minutes of this session. But Daddlepad and Alex Marciano, 4th and 7th. My main concern was their pace overall. And my concerns probably are not dumbfounded somewhat. They're 4th and 7th.
I think Daddlepad didn't have a clean run out there. I think he had a few little errors in the second sector looking at his sector time. So I think he knows where the time is, to be fair. But Alex Marciano is losing time across the board. So I think you are right about Marciano. I think Daddlepad's probably got a 108.0 in him. But Marciano, he's gonna have to consistently find time across all sectors if he wants to have NLR a shot at potentially qualifying here. But one thing to make note of here is at the moment the top 4 are all from different teams. So this is where we're starting to see now the consistency issues that we had from the midfield teams in last season, if you remember, where we just had one person absolutely dominate, win the race, another one down in 10th. So are the teams still struggling to find that sort of chemistry, that connection between both drivers? At the moment, no, it's very early days here, but we're starting to see that again.
Yeah, definitely. So Luke, by the way, making a good point in the chat, saying he agrees with me, saying where is Keki, where is Rutila, where is NLR Urpek? Well, Urpek's at F7R, so I don't think that's going to happen. Ruti and Keki, though, I think are on other business here tonight as well. However, LDL Nico was on lap as well. League of Legends already up there in terms of kill tree. Former Team Mentalism driver. Actually took a race win around here in EML Premier 1 back in the day. But really going at the 2 people there. They might realise that I actually commentate on that as well. Nico now coming through the first sector of turn at number 7 at Skyflag. Looking good. 24th lap though in the first sector compared to 2D. Is already 6/10 off on 2D's first sector. So Nico has to try and up the limit here in terms of his lap time and really up his game in terms of this this middle sector and indeed the final sector as well. He is the team captain for LDL, looking to try and motivate himself with this lap. 47.7, picking up in the middle sector, but this is not really a strong lap compared to what we've seen.
Yeah, no, I think there is a bit more pace to find out there at the moment. LDL with Nico expecting somewhere in the region of around about a 108.3 is what he's going to be looking for to be around about his teammates. Expect a 108.4 potentially, comes across the line. 108.6, he lost it actually in that final sector. Really, really poor so far, unfortunately, from Nico. So a little bit more pace to find out there. But as is actually not necessarily the shock that I was expecting, but perhaps not what I was expecting immediately out of the blocks. It is very split between driver A and driver B out there.
Yeah, BRT Lou as well, just running out of sync compared to everyone. He's now coming through the Abbey Lundike at now 10.14. On the run toward the line then with BRT Lou, formed part of the lineup last season, and a 107.999. Hopefully not the number he's going to be ringing, but it's Lou there in second, ahead of Stonks. These two have history, if I'm not mistaken, from WOR Console Tier 2 back in the day. Stonks there being a reserve, and Lou there in second. I think both of them have got a little bit of history. What's more history than this? 7,000ths of a second separate them second and third, and Stonks already up by a 10th in the first sector. Now coming in toward the end of this middle sector split, and he's up again by 700ths of a second to Stonks, looking to try and set a stonking lap.
Nice. I like that one. Here comes Nico. So Nico's obviously on a slow lap now at this point here. I'm looking forward to seeing what all the other drivers out in the field have got sort of developing there as a mistake from Killcry. Ends up putting it in the wall. So that is him over and done with there as Tudy going second fastest. Here comes Stonks goes second fastest with a 107.8. So here's now what we're expecting. TF10 are now starting to push towards the top here. BRT 4th and 5th, the consistency showing between them. NLR 6th and 7th. So this is kind of where we're expecting the issue. The main issue at the moment is TTM. Oxtez, where is he at the moment? Down in 10th and looking to try and improve. He's now just coming through turn 13 and 14. Where's he going to be versus his teammate, I wonder, as he comes across now, though, that final corner. DRS wide open, struggling with the ERS management, but he'll come across the line and only 5th fastest and still not in the 107s, but in the low 108s now.
And he's ahead of Joe Murphy, which it could actually buoy him with a bit of confidence, to be honest. TTM certainly looking strong in terms of their qualifying. I didn't actually put them in because I don't really know much about the team, just quite simply. But looking at how Stonks and Oltez there are doing right now, they're doing a fantastic job. 2nd and 5th position, certainly proving me wrong. Proving you right, however, in terms of the predictions, by the way, so far. 2nd and 5th position currently for them. And NLR, I mean, we both got NLR in terms of the predictions. Daddlepad and Alex Marciano, they have got to up their game big time. They've got to get Alex the GOAT, I think, in engineering them just for one night and one night only, because Daddlepad and Alex Marciano are up against it. 7th and 8th position. I know I'm talking about thousandths of a second here between Daddlepad and Joe Murphy. Joe Murphy backed off his lap. Before that, he was going to improve. So Daddlepad and Alex Marciano, when Joe Murphy finds an improvement, they have also got to find an improvement and probably even better the BRT man.
Yeah, that's the key one, isn't it, on that one here? So 108.1, 108.2 for NLR at the moment, and there is unfortunately probably closer to what I was expecting with NXT and LDL, both teams occupying the bottom 4 spots. But critically for Verstappen for NXT, it's not actually that far off of Alex Marciano for NLR here. So NLR have got to really keep an eye out behind them here, because although the positions, of course, don't matter, if they end up getting out qualified by an NXT and LDL in their eyes, there's no disrespect to them teams, but they end up getting out qualified by them, NLR are going to be thinking, oh, crikey, are we in a real risk of not qualifying here?
Yeah, Oxes, by the way, Joseph Hales there in the chat saying Oxes has very bad lag in terms of the lobby. So not sure if that might be his connection, not sure if it might be a lobby issue. Certainly looks fine on our end in terms of sitting here in the lobby. But Joel's saying that in the chat he's having screen freezes and FPS drops as well, which, trust me, if you're on a PS4 like me and you've experienced being on a PS4 on this game, trust me, screen freezes and FPS drops are absolutely horrible, so I totally understand what he's going through. But even with that, 5th position, and if he's getting FPS drops and screen freezes, I'll tell you what, that is a very, very good lap, even with that. And somebody saying as well, I think it was Kenzie in the chat saying, is Max Phil's partner dead? No, he's out on track.
Yeah, absolutely. Just keeping an eye out then on the drivers as they get themselves going here for what will be 3rd of 4 runs. I would expect. Anyway, we'll have to see. But Max Grosspointer just coming around the circuit as Joe Murphy getting himself going now down in 6th place. BRT man just going through turn 1 here. And he's just managed to get the power down a little bit early on this occasion here. So perhaps a bit more conservative. But now being beaten by Oxtez has sort of sparked the driver into life, if you will, as he goes through turn 3. Oh, wow, he is really quick on the power here. And his sector 1 split should be relatively quick, I imagine. Comes across right now, 23.7. Wow. So he's up a 1/10 of a second in the first sector. So this is going to be fun here from Joe Murphy going through the ride. He's really throwing the car around, very aggressive. This Oxtez lap beating him has ignited the driver, hasn't it?
It has. He's had one too many Guinnesses, potentially. That might have actually put adrenaline quite literally in his system, because Joe Murphy, there in 6th, is doing a fantastic job on this lap, coming into the middle sector split, and he's 800 up, so he's found a little bit more time. It's always the middle sector, though, that you don't tend to find much of the time. And Joe Murphy now, just avoiding a bit of traffic there on the right-hand side. We're on the NLR drivers. Comes now through the final corner at Ari Lundijk now at turn 14. This is looking very, very good from Joe Murphy's perspective. The Irishman has definitely got the look of the Irish right now. Goes 4th ahead of Lou. Sets him up well. And Oxes and Daddlepad, and especially Alex Marciano, have all got to find improvements now.
Yeah, Oxtez has got to get a shift on now. If he doesn't get into the 107.8s at least, I would suspect TTM could actually be in trouble here, because TF10 and BRT by far are showing their pace out here as well. And of course, there comes Lou as it goes second fastest. BRT are flying out there at the moment. That is my boy. He's enjoying it. There's NXT Verstappen going fourth fastest, sorry, and the fastest of the NXT drivers suddenly out of nowhere. I don't know if the track has really just suddenly started to glue here, but out there at the moment as Judy goes fastest, it is really, really heightening up here. And now I have to say, Oxtez and TTM really are in trouble if they don't find the pace now.
Max goes partner to the line as well. Doesn't actually improve. It's a 1,000th improvement in the end. As Stonks goes quickest for TTM. Stonks now going quickest ahead of Tootie. Max Phil's partner there in 3rd. This lobby now is coming absolutely alive. LDL and NLR are up against it along with Oxtez. Oxtez is on a lap right now coming in toward Ari Lundijk, in and out at turns 13 and 14. Through the banking he comes, on the run to line, a 108.101 to beat. Is Oxtez going to improve? I think he will find an improvement, and he does find an improvement. Goes 5th, 107.928. Good lap time there from him, defeating NXT Verstappen, putting the development driver there of WWE back there down in 6th. But Stonks there leading from 2D in 2nd. Max Gold's partner there in 3rd. If you thought you had the predictions nailed down like us, think again.
I was about to say, just my follow-up line to that one was I think that's TTM and TF10 qualified now, but you know what, now you've just said that, I feel a bit awkward, but nonetheless, I think in the here, TF10 have certainly, you know, come on, I mean, they're within 3,000ths of a second of each other. That consistency exactly is what you need, not just to qualify, but to be champions. So really good effort from TF10, and immediately, I think that is going to be now, surely the likes of F7R, Shazoo, and almost certainly Outplayed Racing looking at TF10 here, because suddenly, I'm going to say it now, I know it's the qualifiers, but TF10, if they're going to have that consistency, they are going to be potential title contenders straight out the blocks. That is one way to show how you got to qualify after a poor result last season. Great.
Yeah, and remember as well, TF10, from that bounce back from the qualifiers in Season 3, have really worked with their console lineup. They've really worked to try and hone it in, try and get the importance of team events back in the team. because I think they lost their way in the first half of 2023, came alive, of course, in qualifiers, didn't qualify for WILD, put them on the back foot, and then they've got into PSGL E-Series on PC, and that has sparked a new life, quite literally into TF10. It's fantastic to watch. They've got a good lineup. Watch out for them. Watch out as well for the man currently sitting in 12th position as well. We're not sure how he's going to do in comparison to Verstappen, but Marek now is on the lap coming through Tarzan at turn 1.
Yeah, so this is going to be the fun time now, the last opportunity for the drivers to really get out there. Joe Murphy, by the way, setting out with, I think, too much fuel because he's currently cruising around at 13,000 revs in second gear. So he's obviously trying to burn as much fuel as he can out there to get going with this lap. Not the most fuel-efficient way to do it, but I think that's entirely the point. Here he comes then through the left-hander as he's just about to get going then. And I think this is going to be the make or breaker now, isn't it, for Joe Murphy? He is down in 7th, but don't think that is going to be a problem with Verstappen getting a penalty for illegal blockage. That might be investigated. Keep an eye out, though, on Joe Murphy because, of course, yes, the position's not going to matter, but it could be that little bit of pressure that might end up causing a driver to make a mistake.
That was coming through Tarzan, by the way, that illegal blocking penalty being picked up. It looks like he's got back going on the same speed, so I don't think that's going to be another illegal blocking penalty for Verstappen. Marek, though, his teammate on the run line, has been up against it in terms of this lap. Does improve, doesn't actually improve his position. I think certainly NXT are looking on borderline right now, possibly with the likes of F1 Esports, possibly looking on the borderline even at this early stage as Alex Marciano and Joe Murphy just signed up on laps as well. Joe Murphy is the furthest on right now, the Irishman. It is Stonks out on top, 2D in second, Max Foles partner there in third. 249 of you, by the way, tuning in. I think that's possibly our biggest figure for Legacy Division qualifiers so far. Let's get that to 300 and let's get beyond towards the end of the season as well. As Joe Murphy through the first sector is slightly down on his lap time, flings the car through turn 8 and 9, and this is where his Aston Martin setup is completely hooked up with this track. Really strong, coming now through in towards the Circuit Danville corner at turn 10. Stonks 2D Max Rose partner on the top 3. Joe Murphy looking to try and put a lap time like he did in Singapore in, and he's 100th up through that middle sector, so looking good for Joe Murphy right now.
Keeping an eye out on Marek as well. He's just going through turn 13 at the moment, not the best second sector. Had a double lockup going through into turn 9. So this is where it's all going to be critical here for NXT. They've got Verstappen here on. He's coming to the pits. He's just abandoning that lap. So Marek will be at the bottom of this qualifier then. So it is all going to be about Joe Murphy. And he is 7th fastest by the looks of things, 107.952.
Yeah, definitely. Kilcree in that. Nico as well. Kilcree now on the run to the line for LDL. He goes 10th position. LDL are looking out of it. I've pressed triangle by mistake. Nico 900s up through the middle sector as well. But here comes TF10 2D coming through the final corner. The Romanian man with good experience around this track. On the run to line. Does he go quicker than Stonks? Yes, he does. 107.7. The fastest we've had all night. Stonks, though, coming in for an immediate reply. 600s up through the middle sector. On the run to line, the TTM man comes and he goes quickest. 107.7. Max Stroll's partner's 2.5 tenths down. He's not improving. Zach there in 5th position is doing a good job. 107.9. I think he's down, though, in the middle sector. He's definitely down now because he nearly spins the car. Coming through Ari Lundberg at the banking. Joe Murphy has done in terms of his lap. Daddlepad goes 5th. Big improvement from Daddlepad. In terms of their average NLR, they're going to be on the 107.95 mark, I would expect. So NLR might not be done with just yet, but it is Stonks out on top. 2D there in second. Maxwell's partner there in third. Can we have more lobbies like that? That was brilliant.
Brilliant qualifier. I think Oxtez is going to be a bit disappointed because he was apparently a 10th and a half up in the second sector. So that would have put him well within the realms of potentially TF10 and certainly securing TTM's qualification. But being that far down could be a little bit of a risky one, to say the least. Great effort, though, from Verstappen, by the way, for NXT to get that lap time in. He was absolutely blisteringly quick out there. And though that they possibly and probably, I'm going to say with Marek's time, probably won't qualify, that is a valiant effort indeed from the man finishing in 7th with a 107.9. Great stuff.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from the Italian man of NXT, Verstappen. But it is TTM Stonks. He was once retired. Now he might be coming out of league racing retirement. He's out on top from TF10 2D in second. Max Sproul's partner there in third for TF10 as well. BRT Lou there in fourth with NLR Daddlepad in fifth. Ota's there in sixth with Verstappen there in seventh for NXT. BRT's Joe Murphy there in 8th. BRT potentially could be up against it as well. Alex Marciano in 9th with Killcree there in 10th. Nico there in 11th for LDL. They look out of it seems. And Marek there in 12th position, not getting a solid lap time on the ball compared to everyone else. Stonks the lad on top, 2D second, Max Rose partner in 3rd. While we get Lobby 3 going, we are going to take a word from our sponsors, and you get to see our very fancy trailer for WOR Legacy Division. We'll be back with you probably in about a minute and a half's time. Well, welcome back everyone to WOR Legacy Division. That was a fantastic Lobby 2. And my word, I don't think we can even get our breath from Lobby 2, to be honest. It was absolutely fantastic. In the end, Stonks out on top. Who would have thought it? The man that was once League Racing retired, coming back in December, now possibly coming back out of League Racing retirement. He's out on top, defeating 2D Max Foles partner, no mean feat, but he's certainly produced a hell of a performance.
Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely no sort of shadow of a doubt of the performance of those in that lobby, because I think we were kind of expecting it a little bit, weren't we, from those runners? They are going to be the teams that I think all three of us in our predictions all said that they were going to be towards the top of this qualifiers. Absolutely valiant performance from TTM. I'm so happy with the prediction I made for them, because I think they are going to be ones to watch this year. But certainly great performance nonetheless from TF10. That consistency between the two drivers is exactly what the failure was for a lot of the teams, including, let's be candid, the eventual champions F7R last season had. Now they've got that consistency. If they want to keep up with that consistency, I genuinely think they could be title contenders with that one.
Yeah, definitely. I think Team TF10 going to be ones to watch out for. But we have to go back into the present. We have to go and look at Lobby 3 now. We have got drivers going to be joining very soon indeed. I think we're missing one driver right now from the lineup. There has been a change I've noticed in terms of one of the lineups as well. I believe that is for XPG, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll run through the lobbies very, very soon indeed. And run through actually it right now. FRC, represented by FRC Souza, their owner and founder, and Mizzy, who is a WOR PC Tier 3 reserve driver as well. So interesting to see how they're going to get on out on track. IRT, a team that I know very well. Steven, I know, was going to be there in the chat. Seben Bashi there in for IRT. FRT, of course, qualified last season. They've got one half of their lineup from last season in qualifiers in Brudge there alongside Nico. Both of them features, of course, apart from Legacy Division last season. Novus Racing, well, they've got the GOATs. They've got Gabor and Liam Bowman, nicknamed the Flying Scotsman by me in commentary. Let's see if he can chug his way to P1 out on track. That was terrible. I apologise. WOR Esports there have got Snipes and Dara Smith in. Dara Smith, of course, a multiple race winner. Snipes, of course, being the driver and manager for WOR Esports as well. And XPG have got... actually, I've put the wrong team in. I think it's ATX that are actually in this lobby. It's Jordan Arnold in the Red Bull alongside Schumacher. And famously... Schumacher once crashed out somebody around Monaco and AOR back in the day. Let's hope that doesn't go down here in Zandvoort.
Yeah, let's not. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it's just going to be a nice stroll around Zandvoort in the Netherlands for the next 18 minutes as they try to go around in less than around about 1 minute and 8 seconds. The great effort, though, from some of the drivers out there earlier on. I'm looking forward to seeing what these drivers have got ahead. I'm going to be keeping an eye out on Dara Smith, former IRT man as well, a familiar horse logo, I think it was for them way back when. I think, was it IRT? I think it was. Either way, I'm going to be looking forward to seeing him back. I haven't seen him in over a season, so that's going to be fun. And Liam Bowman, of course, is going to be, I think, the one to watch alongside Gabba. And would you believe, of course, they are, of course, both of the same team. So this is going to be a little bit of a fun ride, I think.
It is. It looks like there's been a change, actually, in terms of ATX. It looks like they've moved into this lobby. So ATX are in this lobby, as well as XPG. XPG are in this lobby, I believe. Senor Ghost is in there alongside Luzco, if I'm not mistaken, judging by my notes. Again, these notes do not get updated, by the way, until pretty much we are live. So if I'm missing anything, then apologies, but the graphic is showing there as right. I believe then, if that is the case, there has been a change in terms of one of the lineups, and for the sake of me, I'm going to now look and see who is the case. Yeah, ATX have switched into Lobby 3, which makes sense. That totally makes sense for ATX. They have got Schumacher and Jordan Arnold in, as I say, for this lobby, and it looks like they have switched, actually, with XPG. So XPG, I know you're there in the chat. You might have to wait half an hour because XPG are now in lobby 4, judging by us getting ready now in the lobby.
So yeah, running as it stands at the moment, 18 minutes behind schedule, which is not bad recovery considering all the technical hitches that we've had. A restart of the lobby, 20 minutes late to the stream with all of the technical hitches, and would you believe I've now got everything absolutely running after the third lobby gets going, but I'm glad now I can actually be in full service for this particular event. But let's be candid, Novus are probably going to be leading from the front in this lobby. I think they're a great team on Novus, always able to find that consistency flowing. So I would expect them, possibly the likes of WOR as well, maybe later down the line to get in there. But I think Novus are probably going to lead from the front.
Definitely so. Liam Bowman, of course, Flying Scotsman. Gabor, formerly of BRT as well last season, now making that move to NVR. I mean, judging by his stats in cosplay tier 1 so far, 17th in the championship, not much write home about. Kai Pearson was due to be here for Team Vroom. Vroom were due to have I think due to be in lobby 1, if I'm not mistaken, then pulled out last minute. I think late last night they pulled out, and Kai Pearson has then since left the team, so not sure what is going on there with Team Vroom. It is a shame that we're not seeing Kai out on track, we're not seeing Vroom out on track, because that would have been a very high-profile team, certainly in terms of the track. Brudge there, by the way, out on track, has just got the pit lane exit coming out. I don't think it's going to be mattered in terms of his lap time. Brudge there, cutting the white line, coming out of the pit lane. The first I've seen a driver do that, certainly here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think there's any specific rules set for this because this, of course, is just a qualifier, but I think the precedent is there to make sure that you don't break any official F1 rules, and one of them is not to cross the white line on pit exit. So you don't even want to try and even challenge that rule, even in such events such as this. So it'd be interesting to see if any managers decide to call that one out and say, perhaps a penalty, please, sir. We'll see. Anyway, either way, he's just around the corner at turn 10, heading into turn 11. So he'll be the first person to set a lap. Just behind him, I believe, is one of the Alpha Tauris. I believe that might be If I'm correct in saying, I think that one might be
Bowman.
Liam Bowman. So Bowman is going to be also pretty early on in his lap times here. So we'll start to see, I think, a precedent set early on. Remember, first laps that came in were in the 108.0s. Let's see what Bowman's got under his locker for this first round of laps.
Simon Midgard, yeah, by the way, saying in the chat, why are we watching a stream that's 480p in 2024? My laptop, that's as simple as that. My laptop will not run at anything but above 720p. So you might have to try and turn up your settings if you can. We are running a very high setup compared to what we normally do here tonight, and my laptop is working overtime. Bless it, it hasn't actually dropped frames here tonight, so that is a difference. Rudjay, they're running up the hill, though, in towards the right-hander now. Sky Flack at turn number 7, and a 23.8 in the first sector at his home track. Now coming to the right-hander of turn number 7, and in toward the right-hander of turn number 8. Takes 6th gear, actually, coming through there. You can get down into 5th and then go back up to 6th. Coming through turn 8, and now into the left-hander of turn number 10. And we'll see, of course, what Rudjay can do out on track for FRT. Liam Bowman behind him out on track, so around about 5-10 seconds behind him. 47.3 in the middle sector, on par with what we saw at the beginning of Lobby 2. As now comes through the left-hander turn number 12, and now in towards my favourite section of the track, and Ari Lundijk box at turn 13 and 14. My TV has just decided to turn itself off, which is fantastic. Rudjay, though, I can promise you, is coming through the final corner on the run to the line, and he does set in the end as soon as my TV comes back up. 108.228. Very good lap from him. Liam Bowman, though, 108 flat already. Very good lap from him.
He should have been in the 108.7, should have Bowman as well, but he had a tank slapper. Oh, another one there as well, going through turn 1. So very low on the downforce setup, I think, for the Alpha Tower in man, but we should be seeing 107s very quickly from Liam Bowman. Looking forward to seeing what we've got coming up on that one. Gabba just coming across the line now, 5th fastest, 108.3. Again, consistency difference between the Novus Racing drivers of 3/10. Need to try and find, that consistency and be close to each other. Look what's happened with the two Alpines, Snipes and Dara Smith, all within around about half a tenth of each other. That's the kind of thing you need in qualifying to qualify for this event. Let's see what the rest have got coming up. You need to have Gabba in there a little bit up as FRT Nico comes across the line with a 108.6 by the looks of things. So good lap time, 108.0, sorry, from him as well, 0.69 rather, and 0.03 of a second faster than IoT's Seb.
Yeah, very good laps on being set so far. NVR Gabor, though, down in 8th position, ahead of Mizzy there in 9th. Disappointing, I've got to say, from Gabor so far. I was expecting a little bit more on him in his first run. Getting outdone by WOR as well is not going to be happy, I think, for Gabor, certainly. Snipes and Dara Smith are quicker than him, and they're quicker than him by a good margin so far. Snipes and Dara Smith there 4th and 5th. I've got in my notes, by the way, about WOR, pretty much potential qualifiers, I think, here tonight. Of course, they did Season 1, did Season 2, didn't qualify, unfortunately, for Season 3. But looking back at their worst results, their best results even, 9th in Season 2 in World on 31 points. They also finished 9th in Season 1. So if that's anything to go by, they have got good experience. They have developed their WOR Esports lineup a hell of a lot over the last year or so. And Snipes and Dara Smith being a real focal point in terms of that.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that they've obviously been working hard with the team in order to have that sort of developing consistency. Another bit of work coming in as well from another driver as well, looking towards the front with Liam Bowman. Obviously, the Novus obviously have got the drivers, but the consistency is not what they've been working on immediately out the blocks anyway. And that is where you will see Dara Smith and Snipes able to earn big time for the likes of their established team. So are they going to be the ones to watch alongside TF10, I wonder, as regards the amount of points that they get? They're not as quick as TF10, but they've certainly got the consistency just like them. I'm looking forward to seeing what the rest of this one's got coming up, because if Novus can at least get Gabba anywhere near Bowman, perhaps Novus could end up taking some big points off of the top teams as well this season.
Yeah, definitely so. It's going to be really intriguing, I think, to see how, of course, all of them get on out on track. Matthias Carper there in the chat. Welcome to you, my fellow Rising Lion there in the chat. Hope you are doing very well. 203 of you, by the way, in the chat. Thank you very much for sticking with us, even with the technical delays and the difficulties that we had earlier on. At least it's good to see some racing action, I can guarantee that. As Sousa now comes through the left-hander of turn number 4, the Portuguese man now up the hill, in towards turn number 4, really fighting the car there, coming out of the banking. As Sousa now comes up the hill, in towards Sky Flack at turn number 7. His first sector split to 23.9, so not really breaking the bank in terms of his lap time. But FRC have got Mizzy there in 9th position so far, Bashi there in 10th for IRT, so Souza has at least got a benchmark to try and figure out, and if he goes anywhere near his teammate, a 108.3 could put them around mid-table in the end.
Yeah, that's obviously going to be something that will perhaps get them or sneak them through, but they don't want to be in a position where they're having to, you know, potentially scrap it out for those final places. They want to feel comfortable out there with that kind of performance. So let's see what other people have got in mind. I'm looking at Souza at the moment, who's finally been able to set a lap time on the board as he comes across the DRS zone, and he's going to set a lap time then. Is he going to be able to beat his teammate? He does beat his teammate, 108.356, but very close margins. Again, consistent between the two drivers, but they need to find a bit more pace than that.
Yeah, looking through, just trying to see if there's anybody actually on the lap right now. Jordan Arnold is as well for Red Bull, but he's not now because he's invalid. Coming through the final corner, that is not a commentator's curse. I'm not taking that as a commentator's curse either. But for their team, of course, in ATX, who have swapped now with XPG. XPG apparently have only got one driver now, potentially, in Lobby 4. So that is something to keep an eye on in terms of that. Maybe they can find another part. I think they mentioned they were going to be running their academy lineup, but Jordan Arnold there, invalidating, coming through the final corner. Not great from his perspective. Schumacher there in 7th, arguably the more experienced of the pairing. He's there in 7th. WOR Console Tier 1 driver, of course, last season, and looks to try and set a good lap time on the board. Liam Bowman, by the way, was on a lap time, backed off in the middle sector, so clearly made a mistake, and the Scotsman not happy with that back end as IRTC goes quickest. Of all people, I did not expect him to go quickest at this part of the session.
Yeah, he's looking quick actually out there at the moment. So obviously IRT have been working, or Seeb, sorry, has been working with, you know, they've been working, haven't they? Obviously getting ready for this event with that kind of lap time already this early into the qualifiers. So 3 thousandths of a second separating Seeb from Bowman. Bowman now in the pit lane. Nico for FRT just coming around the final corner here. This is going to be a pretty critical lap time here as Gabba goes fastest with a 107.7, and this is to be expected of Team Novus and exactly what I would have expected from them. Nico comes across the line 108.0, and you know what? I threw FRT out the window, you know, for this one, saying that they'd probably be 11th or 12th overall out of all of the drivers, all the teams available. But so far at the moment, if Brood can find at least a couple of tenths, he might be in for a blinder with FRT as well. But so far, it's all about NVR.
One of our spectators, by the way, leaving the session has just caused a bit of lag there within the lobby. Hopefully everything is back according to plan right now. It is Gabor out on top. I expected them to go quick. I didn't expect them to go that quick. A 107.781 puts him, I think, 4th fastest out of everyone so far tonight, which is a huge statement from NVR. And Liam Bowman there currently in 3rd position. He could retire, and he could, and NVR could be safe, to be honest. I won't expect him to, because Liam Bowman needs to set a lap time in out on track. And with Nico there, only 3 thousandths of a second separating him and Seeb and him and Nico, Liam Bowman does have to get his foot out of the floor and quite literally put his pedal to the metal and his foot to the floor in terms of that car there in 3rd position as Nico comes through the final couple of corners. Again, we'll ride on board with Souza, who's on a lap time as well very soon, and Brudge is on a lap as well. He's going to be starting one very shortly indeed. Spreadsheet, by the way, has been updated. As it stands right now, let me tell you, if my laptop would kindly refresh itself. Jota, it might be better that you might get this up. Currently, as it stands, TF10 are currently out on top. TTM second, BRT there in 3rd. At this moment in time, you're going to be hanging on tenterhooks, my friend, Mr. Jota. F1 Esports are currently in 7th.
Dear. Okay, so I think there is a possibility they could sneak through, but again, it's going to be very, very up close and personal, isn't it? We'll see what we've got coming up then. As Jordan Arnold, by the way, just setting out on a lap as well, hopefully to try and at least beat his teammate Schumacher, 108.2 to look for at the moment. Plenty of other drivers out now for their 2nd or 3rd runs.
Yeah, definitely. So apologies about the lag, by the way. I was just checking the spreadsheet on my end, and it did lag the stream, so apologies about that. That was completely on my end, completely my fault. Gabor, though, out on top. Seeb there in 2nd. Liam Bowman there currently in 3rd. Brudge is 400s up through the 1st sector, so looking good, looking consistent, trying to now enact on his good performance and getting FRT through, of course, in last season's Legacy Division qualifiers, and he was part of that pairing from FRT as well last season, who did really deliver a good lap time on the board. And we'll see what his middle sector is like. It looks as if I thought he backed off there coming through the middle sector, but he's not. He's 600 up through the middle sector, just a little bit slow. I wonder if he was taking a very high 6th gear or something there, because it just looked a little bit slower compared to what I thought he might do. Now coming through Harry Lundijk at turn 14, looking good on this lap. Sousa also on a lap as well, coming through the end of the middle sector split. Roger now, though, on the run to line does the Dutchman, and he goes 5th, a 108.107, a 10th of a second currently off his teammate. Liam Bowman, by the way, for any Liam Bowman fans out there, because I know there's quite a few of you. 3rd currently, but he's 400 up in the end of the first sector.
It's too late to swap out X Esports for FRT, by the way, because I think there's a real possibility here that I have absolutely thrown FRT away, and I really wish I didn't now, because you know, I've always been a big supporter of the Future Racing team, and you know what, they are showing their pace out there. Dara Smith coming across the line 2nd fastest, and that's the next person into the 107s. Liam Bowman is now just coming around turn 14. We're expecting another 107 coming in, a much cleaner out of turn number 13 into 14. Then as he comes across the line right now, it's a 107.6, and that surely has now secured Novus Racing, and they're through probably, let's be candid, into the next round of this championship. And we have to be honest as well, with pace like that and consistency like that, suddenly the top 3 are going to be looking at Novus Racing as well as TF10. Oh, this is going to be a spicy Legacy division this year.
It is definitely. Liam Bowman and Gabor out on top for Novus Racing. C, by the way, is improving as well. He was down in the middle sector. He was improving in that first sector. So if he finds time in the final sector, could put Dara under a bit of pressure for WOR as he now comes through the final corner. IRTC on the run to the line. Doesn't improve his position though. 1300th improvement in the end from the IRT man. Nico as well is just on a lap. He's 700ths down at the end of the first sector split, coming toward the end of this middle sector split now. FRT were thrown under the bus. Might be careful, though, that they're not too much thrown under the bus, because they're 5th, they're 700ths down with Nico right now on this lap. Now coming through the final corner at Harry Lundijk, in and out at turns 13 and 14. Liam Bowman from Gabor from Dara Smith, currently the top 3. NVR are definitely guaranteed as Nico dukes me into the pit lane. That is him done. Schumacher as well on the lap. Snipes is not on a run at the minute, but Schumacher is coming now through the final couple of corners. It actually looks like he might not be on a run. Coming through the final corner, though, through the right-hander turn number 14. Yeah, he's not on a lap. Is Schumacher. He's going to bail into the pit lane. No fuel on that car. His teammate, though, is Jordan Arnold on a lap. No, he's 1.6 seconds down as well. So that's the end of the 3rd runs. Liam Bowman out on top. Gabor in 2nd. Dara Smith there in 3rd. NVR guaranteed. Everyone else fighting maybe for that 7th position, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, this is all for scraps at this point, isn't it? I mean, the NLR almost certainly have got to have sort of be questioning whether they might get through here now as well, because I think they had a bit of a poor run in the 2nd run with their 2nd driver, and of course TTM, you know, just managing to squeak through with Oxtez getting into the 107s as well. So this is where, sorry, just before the 107s actually, it was just the early 108s for him, wasn't it? So going to be interesting to see how the field starts to sort of develop now. We're going to have a look at how FRT developed, because Brood has certainly got to try and get now into the low 108s. He's got a 108.1. 108.0 is what he's going to target, and I think FRT might be able to scratch through here. But I am a little bit conscious at the moment of Snipes at the moment. He is 2/10 down on Dara Smith. So bit of time to find for Snipes as well. And their team might also be through. This is going to be down to the 100th of a second, if not the 1,000th. This is monumentally close. It's
going to be a couple of thousandths of a second, maybe even 100th of a second, I think, separating these teams at the end of Lobby 2. Overless Stretch, by the way, in the chat saying MVO might as well hit the showers. They may as well. Get an early shower, get to sleep. I think they need it for 2 weeks' time in Legacy Division, where round 1 of the championship is going to be our traditional haunt of Monaco on the 23rd of January. We will show you the calendar at the end of this live stream. But Liam Bowman out on top, Gabor 2nd, Dara Smith there in 3rd. Mizzy, however, is the first man out on track for these final runs. He's currently there down in 10th position. FRC up against it, and it looks like actually Mizzy is not going to go for a run on this lap. It looks like he's going to go high fuel burn, go for a down lap, and then go for a push lap. And that actually, pretty much like what we saw in WOR, as the ball picks up a 5-place grid penalty. Don't worry, that'll get removed. Mizzy there in 10th, like we've seen in WOR Legacy Division last season around here. Mizzy trying that tactic of getting the high fuel burned. That might actually not be too bad. He might actually get into the 107s if he does that.
A little bit of tyre warming strategy then from Liam Bowman without burning through the tyres. He's currently putting both feet on the accelerator and the brake pedal. A bit of trail braking going through corners at the moment to try and keep his tyres warm up, but he is locking up now as he's getting too slow into the corner. So Bowman obviously trying everything he can to get these tyres and his brakes all up to a nice warm temperature, because he knows that this will be his final run. And I'm looking forward to seeing what all the other drivers have got around. Darragh Smith is absolutely chucking it at the moment there. Oh, he's into the gravel, and that might cost him, and he's just been able to hold the car. Has Darragh Smith there, very close, up close and personal. He's not actually invalidated his lap, but surely he's going to bail on that one. That was monumentally close from being a massive spin out.
He's going to bail on this one. Has he got enough time, though, to get those tyres back up to temperature and go for another run? Because he's got gravel on those tyres. That would be my main concern now in terms of a lap time from his perspective. Mizzy down in that middle sector, as we allude to. Sousa, I think, the FLC teammate, is on a lap right now. He is the Portuguese man. He is the owner of FLC as well. Now coming through the final corner of Formula Claret Racing Esports, I think they're called, if my note is correct. Now coming through the final corner, though, on board with Sousa, on the run line. Does he improve? Yes, but he doesn't improve his position. FLC definitely still in trouble right now. How are NVR looking? Liam Bowman has backed off his lap. The ball going for another run as 900's down in the first sector. I think it's just for bragging rights. Darragh Smith as well. Son up on a run. Nico, though, as you mentioned, going fourth, 107.9, and bins it straight into the wall coming through turn one.
Yeah, he's happy, isn't he? 107.9, he's happy to get into the 107s. Now it's all about his teammate and where he's going to be able to come then. So with the checkered flag now waving, plenty of drivers all on their last laps. Bowman elected not to go for his lap, by the way. He's bailed and just parked it on the right-hand side out of the pit exit. As he's looking at Brood, he's actually down 56 thousandths of a second. So he needs to really, really put the pedal to the metal at the moment. Here he comes then, right-hander, and then the next right-hander, spin car on the right-hand side. Not going to matter to win, though, as he comes then through to the start-finishing line, looking to try and get to the 108.0s if he can. 107.9s would be handy. 108.110. He is down 3 thousandths of a second. FRT won't be happy with that particular effort, but they're going to certainly be happy with Nico.
Somebody that might be happy on a lap right now is Snipes. Looks like he's improving in this middle sector split by 1,000th of a second. All minimal improvements, but if Snipes can find a 10th of a second from somewhere, he could be Darragh Smith the third, and WOR could be that 7th team going into the final session and with Lobby 4 and going into that, and we'll see what Snipes can do. The pole now around the final corner, on the run to the line for WOR Esports. Can he better his time? No, he can't. He's out of fuel, as you mentioned, and in the end, a 108 flat. He did improve, I think, very minimally, but he did improve just about. Liam Bowman, in the end, out on top. He hasn't hit the showers yet, but Liam Bowman is definitely going to be hitting the tracks for Flying Scotsman next season. Gabal there in second, Darragh Smith there in third. It's a bit of a mix-up further down. NVR, congratulations, you may as well crown them Legacy Division Champion Season 4, I think, with that performance, but Darragh Smith in third for WOR, Nico there in fourth for FRT. It could come pretty close between those two teams, and I'll be very interested to see how these guys get on out on track. As Nordic Ninja, by the way, is put in the chat, WOR and PSGL commentators clearly love to say, hell in the metal. It sticks. It sticks.
Oh, I mean, I'm absolutely gobsmacked by WOR's effort. Like, that is a really, really good effort from Darragh Smith to be in third. And you know what? That effort from Snipes right at the death, running out of fuel. He'd have almost certainly been in the 107s at that point. So it's a bit of a shame that he's missed out on that one. The question is that going to be enough for WOR to qualify? I wonder. The times are going in now. We'll keep an eye on that one as we go into Lobby 4.
Yeah, Liam Bowman in the end out on top, the ball there in second, then it's Darragh Smith third, Nico fourth, Sieb there in fifth. Sieb actually outperformed his standing in my notes. Schumacher, Snipes, Brujay, Sousa and Jordan Arnold top 10, then Mizzy and Bashi, the 12 drivers there in Lobby 3. Frank saying in the chat, Saudi money isn't everything. I think Saudi money is what needed IRT to qualify potentially, certainly from Bashi's perspective there, down in 12th position. But IRT did a good job, and every single team, no matter what standing you have, no matter if you're one of those drivers, we're going to get into Lobby 4 very shortly indeed, and we'll bring up, of course, that lobby graphic very soon. Indeed, there we are, got there in the end. But I think no matter what your standpoint is in terms of the lobbies, no matter what your profile is as a team, WOR Legacy Division gives a very unique opportunity for all of these teams to prove on console, in one of the best console tier events out there, why it really comes to pay and why really these teams get a good following. And no matter what your affiliation is, no matter if you're unbiased like us in the commentary box and want to see these teams do well, it gives them big stature going forward. And you might not think about, you obviously see Legacy Division, you might think about the NVRs, you might think about the BRTs, you might think about the F7Rs, the OPs in the world, but forget about the bigger teams. Have a look at teams like IRT, WOR, the likes of FGE coming up, CPI. Every single team out there has delivered or will deliver a fantastic performance, no matter if they qualify or not. We should be proud of every single one of them. And I hope you guys can back them just as much as we are going to be doing, certainly in the next 15 rounds of the season.
It's such a critical element, isn't it, to any kind of esports event like this one? We at the end of the day, we're a bunch of teams or a bunch of people that just enjoy what we do here. I mean, Christ, like me and you, James, we just scream at a bunch of cars flying by, virtual cars flying by, because it's fun, and that's what it's all about, really. And granted, when you talk about, the big money that's in this, the prize pool and everything, you are going to be sort of tempted to see the big teams obviously put this amazing amount of effort in, but the bottom line is that we're all here for a bit of laugh, and that is what it is all about. And this is where I then hand over my award to the finest named team that I have ever heard in my entire life, by the way, in the Cedar Phoenix Igniters, for this event here. The logo in the top right hand corner belonging to Team CPI. I love that name. Nothing more from me other than that.
CPI, very good in terms of team events as well. So they might actually be ones to watch out for in this lobby. I know CPI, I know Black Phoenix, who I think owns them, if I'm not mistaken. He lost a very good friend in the awful bombings that are going on still in Gaza. And I think it was in Lebanon, actually, that his friend lost his life. And sending all of his thoughts to Black Phoenix. I know it's probably a very tough time for him, very tough time for everyone in CPI. Well-loved member as well. Well-loved friend for Black Phoenix, more importantly, and hopefully we can give him the justice, certainly here tonight as well, in terms of everything that CPI has got to deliver out on track. We are in Lobby 4, by the way, right now, so we are going to run through who is going to be in what team very shortly indeed. Looks like we are still going to have XPG showing up, but maybe only with one driver, it seems. Actually, no, I spied two drivers there for XPG. They've got both. They've got Flame and Senor Ghost, who are there. I think Flame is the late replacement as per that. Jim's Cooking Channel also saying they've got one of the best the named teams within Legacy Division. Yeah. Definitely agree on that as well. I'm just trying to get my notes up for lobby number 4. Bear with me, they'll take a little while to come up. False Group Esports are in with FGE, Justin and Welsh Jack, two very consistent drivers there for FGE. ATX were in Lobby 3, as you saw, Jordan Arnold and Cam, so they have got XPG replacing them. XPG have got in the lobby Flame and Senor Ghost, so no Luzco as promised. Flame and Senor Ghost, though, two very consistent drivers for them. Then we've got Cedar Phoenix Igniters with Michele and Igor Jelen, both them in the lobby, so both of them going to be representing CPI. ET8, goated lineup in terms of WOR crossplay on Friday. Mateo, Tier 1 winner in Singapore. Renz, Tier 2 winner in Singapore, both alongside each other, I think for the first time in Legacy Division as well. So ET8 have got a very strong lineup here. G-League the same as well. Grimbos and GL. GL formerly, of course, a PSGL PSF1 winner in season 26 and a 2-time F1 Esports Challengers driver in 21 and 22. So GL one to watch out for along with Grimbos. And then Inter Racing Series, who didn't get actually into qualifying last season. They, I think, were one of the bottom teams in the end in qualifiers. They have got Anis there alongside Skies, who was in the lobby, the Frenchman, and the Algerian, going to be delivering out on track, certainly for IRS. But in terms of Lobby 4, Jota, ET8 and G-League, probably the two names that we want to be watching the most out for, especially given how close it is at the top.
I must admit, you may have been hearing me going ooh ah and breathing quite heavily at the moment. It's because I've just seen the updated table for the Legacy Division qualifiers. Of course, going into this round, we've got a set of drivers that are all going to be very keen to get going. I'd expect, that there'd be a really valiant effort from G League, ET8, maybe even False Group Esports. Of course, I'm not particularly familiar with the the Cedars Phoenix Igniters, but based on your words, clearly they are a team to sort of think about as well. How close it is at the moment for the bottom three teams to be knocked out here, and we've got three teams that certainly could be breathing down the neck here. Oh, we're going to be losing potentially a big name out of this here, and I think we might be in for another sneaky. I have a sneaky suspicion we might be in for a big team dropping out here. This is going to be a fun time. Here we go.
Here we go, indeed. We are waiting, by the way. There is a Steward report ongoing right now from Lobby 3. Souza, apparently, could be joining in for FRC. Judging by what is being said out on track, it looks like he got blocked potentially with a smoke screen and visual blocking on track. So Souza may be joining in terms of this lobby. Will be at the discretion, of course, of the Steward whether he decides to race or not. So if you are an FRC supporter, then probably not the best sort of news from Souza's perspective, but hopefully he might get a second chance. And remember last season in qualifiers, I think we had Juventus Racing, if I'm not mistaken, with one of their drivers. It took them 4 attempts to get a lap time in, including a solo session for the poor bloke, and he still didn't manage to qualify. So let's hope we don't get the same thing twice around in season 4 of qualifiers.
Yeah, I've no other things to add on that one. To be fair, it's as blunt as that one, and it's unfortunate, really, that a driver, because we've seen, haven't we, that in previous history that drivers have been blocked and have been allowed to do another lap and so on because of issues. But to have a smoke screen issue in this game, like, come on, let's try and do better than this one. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, by the next game cycle, at least we'll have a fix on that one. But I'm just keeping a very firm eye. I keep looking as well at where we've gone wrong in our predictions at the moment here, James. I'll be perfectly candid in saying I was wrong with one of them, which is probably going to be the obvious one, but I'm not as far off as I thought I'd be. Really, really close, actually. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one goes, especially G League and ETA, because they were the team, weren't they, that kept scratching points off of the sort of midfield teams. And of course, ETA got a race win, didn't they, in Brazil last season? So this is where it's going to be, the make or break here. And I have a feeling, as you say, with ETA especially, some serious OGs in this championship with them. I'm looking forward to seeing what they've got coming up. But G League, Grimbos and Gill, Grimbos especially, incredibly consistent when it comes to repetitive lap times. The question is, are they going to be able to find the lap time that they need in order to qualify whilst we're still waiting for that result of the Stewards? So, going to be interesting.
Yeah, I really hope so, to be honest, because Grimbles and Geel, I think they teamed together on, 3 or 4 different occasions, I think, last season. And in all of those races, I remember Las Vegas quite vividly as well, because both of them teamed up there, and both of them were so consistent in terms of their runs. It was brilliant to watch, and honestly, I hope G League do qualify. As it stands right now, I'm just getting the spreadsheet up on my end. It is a little bit disjointed and whatever. And as it stands, I'm not looking too bad in terms of my predictions. There's one in particular that is not going to be pulled off, it seems. But apart from that, I think I'm pretty much on with 6 out of my 7 right now, which is pretty good going indeed. Better than my predictions last season, where I think I only got 2 right.
Yeah, no, I'm not particularly fond of mine at the moment. Just trying to see where I am at the moment. So I've got ET8 on my list as of you as well. So we've got obviously them trying to compete here. But you've also got G League as well. Now, I said G League wouldn't qualify this year, so that's going to be a bit of a fun one to see in that little battle between ETA and G League, because that's exactly, the battle that we kind of saw between them two really throughout last season. So that's going to be sort of one to watch when it comes to the qualifying. I'm keeping a firm eye, though, of course, on towards the bottom, because, of course, and again, I'm not going to mention any names for now, because you will see at the end of this particular stream that there is probably going to be some big hitters that are going to end up missing out on a qualifying spot here. But I'm looking forward to seeing what we've got with that's my main point anyway. G League ET8, they're the ones to watch here, because they could end up knocking 1 or 2 out. Yeah,
they are the ones to watch out for. And as it stands, there is 8 thousandths of a second between 7th and 8th, is what I will say. 8 thousandths of a second. And I said, I think at the end of Lobby 2, we could get it down to the thousandths of a second. And that's exactly what we are looking at right now. Potentially, even without this lobby being run, it was to stop as it is, and everything was to go down, and then we repeated qualifiers again. ET8 and G League, potentially one or both of these teams could still go out. It is all up in air right now. We have to see, though, how everything is going to progress. Judging by, as well, the comments that I'm seeing on Discord about Mr. Souza joining the session, he has put it up on everyone. Gabor was the one that apparently blocked. So that is interesting, because NVR are currently topping, is what I'll say. And Gabor blocking... That could have ramifications on what we could see in terms of the top 7 teams, is what I will say.
No, that's poor. If that is, I mean, I didn't personally see it. I don't know if you caught it on stream, but if that is the situation, and Novus end up being eliminated from the qualifiers as a result of a block, you know, that is going to be a massive, massive L for a team that I think potentially could be winning this qualifier. So we're effectively saying the fastest team aren't going to qualify as a result of a block. Fair deal. You make the mistake, you get the punishment, but that would be detrimental to Novus if that is the case. Do we have him in the lobby now?
It looks like we're going without him. It looks as if it's actually Schumacher and Souza. It was Schumacher that was blocking coming through the final corner. I think I misread Gabor's comment potentially. But it looks as if he is going to be getting a rerun, judging by what I'm seeing from Mr. Luke Humphries. So it's all up in arms. Hopefully we'll get him in the lobby if he is not already here. He's not in the lobby as it stands. We'll take you live now to the track as we get forward into lobby 4. He's not there in the lobby right now, but if he does get a rerun, if the stewards find him discretion, he will get a rerun, I believe, in this lobby and will be allowed to get the runs in as per necessary, as per what we saw with Juventus Racing last season as well. But the first drivers are beginning to filter out of the pit lane right now here in lobby number 4. We'll get the timing tower and everything up on the right-hand side. Of course, everyone going for that sort of soft compound of tyre, the C4 compound of tyre around here as well. And one of the Aston Martins, I think, is one of the first out on track, and that is the Italian GOAT, Matteo, the fastest rising star since Cameron Dowd in PlayStation right now. Matteo has absolutely come alive. The second half of 2023 was his year. Started off in WOR Console Tier 1 with a dominating victory in Singapore, albeit in wet conditions. How do you think he's going to fare here tonight? Because surely he's going to be like Liam Bowman Gabor sort of pace.
I was about to say that. We should be seeing Liam Bowman sort of pace here from Matteo. I reckon, I'm going to put it out there, 1080 is probably going to be what he's going to be getting in this first run. We've seen low 108s immediately out the blocks already. If he manages to breach into low 107s before we even get going, Matteo is going to be a serious asset to his team, and that will be a massive benefit, of course, for going into this, especially with the close proximity of the knockout rounds at the moment, especially, oh my goodness me, I've just seen as well one of my favourite teams as well is potentially at risk if that ends up happening as well. So we are in for a blinder, that's for certain.
We are in for a blinder indeed, and it's IRS Amis now coming through the final corner. Do not want to say that on stream. Now coming down the straight in towards turn number 1. IRS didn't qualify for Lexi Division last season, looking to try and right the wrongs from last season. Anis and Sky's their lineup, and Anis now coming through the right-hander to turn 3, and then towards turn number 4, Hugenholtz, and now up the hill through the banking at turn number 4, and then towards turn number 7 at Skyflak at the top of the hill at the end of this first sector split. And Anis in the first sector, 23.9, so not really representative in terms of a banker so far, but is looking consistent nonetheless. He's got no traffic in the way, he's got a free track ahead of him, and Anis now coming through the right-hander at turn number 9 and into the left-hander at turn number 10. He's a bit like me, to be honest, around here in my classic car lap time. He doesn't seem confident on the power in terms of this lap time, as now Anis comes to the middle sector, 47.5, that's a bit more like it in the middle sector. But I think all of it from the first sector. If you set a pretty poor first sector, you're going to be up against it for the rest of the lap. And I think that's what Anis is finding out here. Now coming through the right-hander of turn 13, into the right-hander now of turn number 14. Anis now on the run to line. We'll see what he can do in terms of his lap time. A 1:08.4, not a bad lap at all. I thought that was going to be around the 1:09 mark.
Matteo, by the way, a couple of mistakes going through the corners there. A little bit of a wide moment going through 9, but here he comes across the line. I'm expecting 1:08.0. I got exactly that, 1:08.073 for Matteo, and that is exactly what they are looking for at the moment. But oh my goodness me, there goes G League and Kiel. Why did I discredit them? 1:08.071. Renz, though, going fastest of anyone so far with a 1:07.835. Wow, that's incredibly quick. Before we've even got going, this is going to be an absolute disaster for my predictions.
It's going well for my predictions so far, I've got to be fair.
Well.
Renz, Matteo,
Well.
first and third. G-League there in second with Geel. Grimbles, by the way, 7th. 1:08.3, not filling with much confidence from Grimbles' perspective. Now, Geel is normally the quicker driver out of the pairing, but Grimbles should at least set a 1:07 around this lap time, around this track, you would think. He's there in 7th, and he's getting outdone by both CPI drivers and a Welshman called Jack. So, Grimbles not liking this right now in 7th. He was one of the first on a lap time. He's now coming to the middle sector, actually just ahead of Welsh Jack. And Jack there in 5th, doing a good job for the team of XPG, if I'm not mistaken. Justin, of course, being one of their signings as well. Actually, FOLSgroup Esports, I should say. The team is Welsh Jack. And indeed, Justin formerly of AMS and a WOR Xbox driver, of course, in Season 13. We'll hopefully see what everything is going to progress though out on track. Ren's though out on top, GL in second, Matteo there in third. Good qualifying lap times being set. They are the first runs. Unless you're XPG Flame, who's coming through the final corner and really struggling, bless him, on a lap time. Probably hasn't had any practice whatsoever. And a 1:12.9, not being funny, probably would put him around the 107% right now. As Souza has joined the session, so it looks like he will get a run in this lobby.
Oh dear, and that's probably not good sign for Novus if that is the situation. If it is Novus that were the ones that blocked, or if it was Schumacher, I'm not sure. We'll obviously get some clarification on that one. But whatever the case, that is probably not a good sign for the team that committed to the block. Just a bit of a note for you. Top 5 at the moment, except Aston Martin, of course, are not able to show, again, consistency between the drivers. Probably closest to consistency will be the CPI drivers in 4th and 6th. Of course, Renz and Matteo absolutely running riot in the 1:08.0s, and of course the 1:07.8 from Renz Thomason, whatever. Oh, Thomason. Yeah, we'll go with that. He is flying out there already, so I'm expecting we're probably going to be in the mid 1:07s with him. Just keep an eye out though, of course, on IRS. I think there is a little bit more pace to find between those boys as well in 8th and 11th respectively.
Yeah, IRS, of course, not to be confused with the thing that you pay your taxes with in America, but you never know what might happen for IRS. They're looking decent so far. Anis there in Skies, 8th and 11th, certainly doing a little bit better than what they did in Legacy Division qualifiers last season. Gonna focus my attentions, though, on the Italian right now of Matteo. He's there on an outlap right now. 3rd position for him currently. 0.02 of a second separating him and Geel. Very, very close indeed. But Ren's out on top by, 2.5 tenths of a second ahead of Geel, who's a former PSGL PSF1 champion, who's a former 2-time F1 Esports Challengers man. Renz Thomason might be a name that you might have to put in your notebook, certainly for Legacy Division, and certainly in League Racing going forward, because Renz produced that brilliant performance in Crossplay Tier 2, absolutely tore the field apart in the end in Crossplay Tier 2, like Matteo did in Tier 1, and Renz so far looking very, very consistent, and the Belgian definitely looking to try and get on the board. Cameron Dyson, by the way, in the chat, I'll read this comment before we see Geel's lap coming through the final corner. Cameron Dyson saying, Jack is a line driver, just saying it's his 2nd ever no-assist event, and I think that he's on about XPG Flame, if I'm not mistaken. And if that's the case, it's a baptism of fire, but I credit any driver that does that.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to be a driver. Eventually, a driver will have to, reduce the number of assists that they feel comfortable with if they want to try and advance in their careers, if you will. You're a line driver. I'm a line driver myself as well. But we both elect to race that way because we feel comfortable with that. But some people like to try their hardest and to expand their horizons. So fair play to anyone that wants to reduce the assists that they're racing with. Grimbo's on a hot lap, by the way, for G League. Is looking to improve. It was his third sector, weirdly enough, that was a little bit down. So we'll see if we're going to get a better lapping time from G League, because I think as it stands at the moment, they ain't qualifying with that 108.3.
Gilles, by the way, is a 10th up in this middle sector. He's on about Welsh Jack. I totally forgot there's a guy named Jack and he's Welsh in 6th position. But there we have it. It's after 9 o'clock. Tiredness is beginning to kick in on the stream. We've been live nearly 2 hours, so you can forgive us. Ren's there, out on top. Gilles there in second, and he stays second. 500th improvement.
Oh, wow,
Matteo was a 10th.5 up, though. Matteo was flying on this lap time. Now coming through the final corner. Will the Italian go quickest? Ahead of Ren's Thomason. No, goes second, but not by much. Ren's there, actually spinning, coming through the final corner, was a 10th.25 up on his lap time, so Ren's would have been improving. Matteo there in second, Gilles in third, Justin there now in fourth, former FRT driver as well, back in the day. Michele now through the final corner, a 10th up for CPI.
Grimbo's abandons his lap on the fast lap here. Here comes Michael for CPI, who now goes fourth fastest and beats both of the McLarens in this situation here. So CPI suddenly looking like they're getting their legs going here. So looking forward to seeing what sort of they've got potentially under their bonnet. But Grimbo's, again, there's plenty of time available for him to get a proper lap in here, but again the consistency of his runs are not showing any face. He is down in 9th. He's 108.3. G League aren't qualifying here as it stands.
G League are not qualifying as it stands right now, and that's going to put pay in terms of my prediction. I think it is currently, as I say, 0.08 of a second between 7th and 8th place teams right now. One team from last season, what I will say is one team from last season will not be making it as it stands. Even with G League do not get through, one team from last season will not be making it as it stands. It's Renslow out on top, from Matteo there in second, Gilles there in third. Nordic Ninja saying in the chat, can you use assist in World? No assists in World. It has always been the case in Legacy Division and indeed across WOR. It's been no assist for the most part. I think they run console assist tiers if I'm not mistaken. I have done in the past, but Legacy Division, no assists. You do get to see the creme de la creme, the cream of the top, quite literally, in terms of the best drivers on console. One Thomas Ronhar, as well, used to be on Xbox here in WOR back in the day. Some may call him a cheater in the chat. If you do, then probably I will say, where's your facts? Because he took the field apart in sim racing, and my commentary highlight was on the back end of Christmas, 24 hours of F1, actually getting to do a commentary with Thomas Ronhar in, which was possibly one of my best commentator career moments. And Jota, I know you were alongside me for that event as well, raised a lot of money for special effects. It was brilliant to be a part of, and many of these drivers actually in this lobby, or quite a few of them, Renz, Matteo, Gilles, all featured as part of that event.
Yeah, big shout out to all of the team, by the way, at 24 Hours of F1 as well for that charity event. It was an absolute blinder in the end with that, exceeding our target, and everyone just having a bit of a laugh at the end of it. I mean, we all sort of had a conversation, didn't we, when the stream ended, and we just sat around for a good 45 minutes, an hour, just having a laugh, and it was just such a wonderful experience for all of the drivers. You talk about Thomas Ronhar as well. I was pretty jammy to actually commentate over him twice. In the over the season of 24 Hour F1, but also I commentated over him when he was actually on Xbox back in EIR, and I think the Intersport Racing League as well, IRL. He was part of those events. That was absolutely fantabulous before he moved on to PC, and as they say, the rest is history.
All right, show off. Still need to rub it in. It's Ren's the lad on top, Matteo second, Gilles there in third. Ren's currently is up and very close to the curb, coming through turn number 9. He is the first lap time on the board right now. I think XPG Flame might be one of the first, though, on his run. A 109.213. He's going through the final corner. Ren's, though, was a 46.9 in the middle sector. The fastest middle sector we've seen all evening. Ren's is cooking. Cameron Dowds, watch out, because Ren's Thomason is a name to watch out for, not Matteo. Now he comes through the final corner, Ari Lundijk. Ren's on the run to the line. Surely going to be better in a 107.6 potentially. Ren's on the run to the line. 107.684. I think, actually, in terms of Max Throw's partner's lap time, that's quicker than Gabor. That's quicker than Max's. And I think that's pretty much on par with what we saw in Lobby 2 from Liam Bowman. Renz, I think the same, if I'm not questioning, I think he's saying set the same lap time as Liam Bowman there.
I'm just having a look at that one to just fact check. That might be the case, but either way, I think that's might just be ET8 safely through if that is the right team. Just trying to sort of figure out my own math at the moment because I'm actually keeping an eye out on Grimbos, who's finally been able to get some kind of consistency going. A little bit wide though through 13 for Grimbos. He needs to try his hardest here for G League because they, of course, are on the brink of not qualifying as it stands. He comes across the line right now. They're still not qualifying at the moment, our G League as it is, and that is a massive blow at the moment with that 108 all the twos. Keep an eye out on Grimbos and Gil. Gil needs to try and find an absolute blast of a lap. It needs to be record breaking for G League to get through as it stands.
Mateo comes in the pit lane when improving in the middle sector. Interesting tactic there from the ET8 man. Coming into the pit lane, was improving by beyond a tenth of a second. Mateo there currently in second. Tyler's Race Cam saying TTM. FRT Jacob saying G League out. I think so. I think G League potentially could be out here. Gil didn't improve. He was 900s down in the middle sector, backed off. He's back in the pit lane as well. At the minute, Grimbos are not doing enough. And again, it comes to, it's Justin Neely loses it. Coming out of Ari Lundike, turns 13 and 14. On the run to line, McKelly goes third. Good lap time from him. Beating GLG, Justin there back in the pit lane. He's down on his lap time. Souza as well is on a lap time. We're watching very closely indeed. The FRC man looks like he's going to go again, though, on this run. Renz out on top, though. Mateo second. Michele there, currently in third. FRT Jacobs here. Yeah, I've got to agree. G League, I think, are definitely going to be out at this stage. And again, it comes to that whole point of NLR. NLR, as it stands, are in, is what I can report. I'm not telling you where. They are in.
What I can say is, what can I say at the moment, James, is that I think the predictions have fallen out of your favour and into mine. Because if I think I'm adding this all up right, I think I've got 6 out of 7 as it stands, which is a good effort from myself, I must admit. I don't usually blow my own trumpet on this one, but wow, I wasn't expecting that. So as it currently stands at the moment, yeah, G League are going to be out. And you know what? Even Gil's effort is not fast enough as it stands. You know, they need to find 107.9s, 107.8s preferably if they can. But that is a tall order for Grimbos at the moment, who's 4/10ths back. Is he going to strap on a set of soft tyres, put the fuel down to low, and have one last go at this one? Because he's going to have to if they want to get through. Welsh Jack on an out lap, by the way. He's having a second warm-up lap as it stands, as he just starts and comes across the start-finishing line.
Exactly what we saw with Mickey right now. Do not be getting cocky, by the way, NLR guys. What I can say right now about G League, as it stands with their average lap time of, I say, a 108 to... hang on, I need to get this right. A 108 121.5 is what their lap time would be on average. At the minute, they would not actually be in the top 10 in terms of the standings. So G League have got to pull this out of the fire. Grimbo's there in 9th. A 108.222 is not enough. He needs to be 107.9s. He needs to secure himself a 107.9 or 108 flat. Around that ballpark. If GLG can stay exactly the same, then the average comes out, but they're still not going to make it through. So Grimbles ideally needs a 107.8 just to try and make some assurance of them getting through.
Yeah, and I think Gil needs to try and get himself, if he can, into the 107.9s and then try and let Grimsbos hopefully find his pace. At the moment, he's not finding it. Jack is just about to finish his second warm-up lap. He's about to get going here. That is the McLaren team looking to sort of set their foundations running. I believe you said that this was the man that was racing now without the racing line. And if that is the case, then good luck, sir. This is going to be all about you and what you can do for your team. It comes across the start-finishing line, and here he goes.
Let's see, on board with the False Group Esports man in towards the right-hand return number 1, the Welshman, looking to try and put it on the board. FGE could be a very much an outside chance of getting through here as well. No question about it. It's unlikely, but you never know what can happen in these events. You can never know what happened in Legacy Division qualifying. Renz Thomason on the lap as well, coming through the banking. But Welsh Jack through the first sector. 500 top, looking good so far, looking very assured coming through Sky Flack at turn 7. Now in towards the right-hander of turn number 8. Renz, Mateo, McKellar currently the top 3. Welsh Jack, though, 500 top. If he improves once again in this middle sector, Anis GLGL is where he's going to be aiming for in terms of that lap time. That gap, a tenth of a second between 4th and 5th, will be where he's aiming for. And that's exactly where he's aiming for, because he's up again. Purple middle sector, fastest middle sector he has set in terms of his lap time. And a 108.2 is definitely going to be now a 108 flat as he comes now through the final corner at Ari Lundijk. Again, very smooth on the throttle. Beautiful lap this by Welsh Jack, the Falls Group Esports man on the run to line. Will he improve? Yes, and he goes behind GLGL. It might not be enough for them to get through, but Welsh Jack has done himself proud and done his team proud with that lap.
It's an astonishing lap from someone who's just getting used to. Oh wow, as Red Thomason going fast this once again with a 7.6. That's almost certainly going to put ETA through there. I think Matteo is just going to do donuts to celebrate, and I wouldn't blame him, to be fair. Absolutely flying out there. Michael also up in the first sector, by the way, looking sharp. But what an effort from Jack, to be fair. Fantastic effort there as Grimbos does go 5th, but I think that will be G-League out of qualifying unless Gil can qualify, and he can't go any faster because he's invalidated. So I think G-League are now out of qualifying. But finally, I'll try and get to my final point. Welsh Jack, what an effort indeed, sir. Take a bow, 108.0 without a racing line for the first time in a competitive event, and beating your teammate as well. What an effort, sir. Great job.
And his teammates just gone and beaten both IRS drivers as well. Fantastic effort from FRT Justin, or formerly FRT Justin, now FGE Justin, as he's known. Igor not improving. Senor Ghost there coming to the line, 1,000th of a second off Igor in terms of his lap time, and a 108.230. In the end, ET8, I can say, with some assurance, I think they're through. I think they're through by about 400th of a second in the end, judging by my quick maths. So ET8 are definitely confirmed through. Means that I think I've got 6 out of 7, if I'm not mistaken, if that is the case. G-League are out, so that's my one gone. But we'll have a look and confirm everything on the spreadsheet very soon indeed. But Ren's out on top, Matteo there in second, Makale there in third. Great lap time from the CPI man. Should not look at him. We should look at him completely, because he has outperformed what I thought he was going to do as well. And again, Lexi Division is a thing for Shocks. Makale proving that, going third in this session against some very, very prominent names.
I think I'm also 6 out of 7 with X Esports being my incorrect order here. So good effort from the pair of us. I think pats on the back all around here. The times are now coming in. One effort though from Ren's Thomason. Wow, why am I finding it so difficult to say Thomason? He is doing a magnificent effort for ETA though, with alongside Matteo, of course, forever a driver of high consistency. ETA are going to be flying out of the blocks with that kind of effort indeed. Disappointing for CPI though, because CPI with Michael getting a 107.8, his teammates so down the field that actually it might drag CPI out of qualifying as a result. But critically, it might mean that they'll be at the top of the reserves, which means that in the inevitability that drivers end up being knocked out, they may be one of the first to be called up.
Definitely so, yeah. Ren's out on top, Matteo second. We might get a situation, of course, like Nexus Racing, where they all needed the first race, then pulled out, and will have reserve teams on. So whoever's 8th and 9th will be first and second reserve respectively. So not all doom and gloom. They will probably get a chance as they go forward, of course, in the session as well. That is all the on-track action over and done with. I hope 230 of you are going to be staying for the results, because the result is going to come through very soon indeed. But what we can look at is the predictions for ourselves. Mr. Luke Humphreys, on the left-hand side, we'll start off with him, had BRT, ET8, G-League, NLR, Novus, Team TF10, and TTM. So very similar, I think, bar G-League and X Esports being swapped in and out. Bar him, Luke Humphreys not too far off of the mark either. Jota, your predictions. BRT, NLR, Novus, Team TF10, TTM, ET8, and X Esports. Well, we can definitively say that X Esports are out, so that is definitely the case for X Esports being out, and you getting 6 out of 7. And BRT, EPL, ET8, G-League, Novus, Team TF10, and NLR are my 7. Not EPL showing up twice there on the graphic on the right-hand side. I mean, I could be an EPL stan, to be honest, but there we are. We have got, though, results in. And
they're just being lined up now, and I am just double-checking here, and I have a feeling, if I'm right in saying here, that Luke has absolutely nailed it.
Has he?
He has.
Let's have a look. He
Oh
hasn't.
no, hang
No,
on.
he hasn't.
Oh no, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. He didn't call EPL, but you did. Right. Okay. So I think we're all 6 for 7, aren't we?
I think we're all 6 for 7. I think we are.
That's not a bad effort.
We'll get confirmation. We are waiting on CPI, so we're not going to read out any results just yet. Apparently, we're waiting on CPI in an apparent block. Now, I think I might have caught this on
wow.
stream, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been Michele, the driver in question. And I think it was at the end of the middle sector. I will confirm this very shortly indeed. I'll have a look on Discord and see the footage myself. But CPI potentially could have a block, so it could mean the situation that we explained earlier, where Juventus Racing had one driver do multiple reruns because he got blocked once, maybe even twice in Hungary qualifiers last season. And we could have the same situation again for CPI this time around with one of their drivers. But unlike being given a full session, I think he might only get one run and that's it.
Yeah, and that is critical here. He needs to only have the one run, I think, because you can't have a full 80 minutes to yourself at that point. I think a bunch of managers be absolutely livid if that is the situation. If CPI are being given another run here, I think it was their second driver that ended up being blocked. And remember, that was an 8.2 that he did, a 108.2 versus his teammates 107.8. And that is one of the faster, 107.8, which means that he is, well within the rights of being in the top 7. So if that second driver can get a blisteringly quick lap time, we could end up having CPI suddenly knock on the door of being qualifying in here. And he's just checking now. And it looks like to me the screen is being blanked out for him, which means I think he is going to get another run,
Could mean the case. Is it Igor as well? Luke Humphrey saying in the Discord, if it's Igor, it makes it very interesting. It does, because CPI, not over...
Oh, wow. Sorry, go ahead. You finish. I've just seen something appear on my screen. Go ahead.
I was going to say, not even going to be turning away from this. CPI, you might have another chance, my friends, to get through. People are asking us at this stage, who's getting through? We cannot tell you who's getting through. I can definitively say NVR are through because they're top. I can definitively say that. But the rest could still be up in arms because CPI, at the minute, they would be through with their one driver. CPI would be through with their one driver as it stands. And that is by 300ths of a second to NLR, who would be knocked out if that is the case. So basically, go on.
Sorry, I just want to interrupt you, James. Sorry, mate. And just this one is that the official lap time that needs to be done by the second CPI driver is 108.016. That would be the lap time that gets them qualified and will knock NLR out of WOR Legacy. So that would be a big loss, of course, NLR. They're a big team that we wouldn't have expected to be on the fringes. I'd have put, with all due respect to EPL, I'd have put the likes of them with WOR, G League down there, not NLR. So that is the lap time they need to do. And if it is just the one run, 108.016, that needs to be it's a lap time that is basically seen by the top runners at the very early part of qualifying in the 108.0. So they need to be front runners at this point. It's a tall order, but it is doable.
It is doable, and for a driver like Igor as well to set a 108 flat, it's possible. It is perceivable. It is absolutely possible for the driver. They have been given 5 minutes, so it's until 25 to 10 in the UK. Be 25 to 11 if you're an hour ahead of us. So it could be a long one, this, but we are waiting for CPI just to put their steward report in and see what is happening in terms of their steward's report. What I can definitively say is, and I'm looking actually, I've got the wrong thing up. Hang on. I'm getting myself completely confused. Do you know what I've been saying? I've been saying the first driver's lap time as an average. So forgive me in terms of that. That's such a rookie mistake that I've just made there. But NVR are top. I can definitely confirm that. And I can also definitely confirm that ET8 are second. And there's only 100th of a second between the top two teams.
So let's make it clear that 100th of a second is just a pure identifier, isn't it, of how good the runners have been basically throughout this entire qualifying event, and I'm certainly looking forward to seeing what we've got coming up here. But the team at the bottom are going to be watching very closely here, because that was a valiant effort from Michael at CPI to get that 107.8, puts them within real contention of qualifying here, but it is going to be all about that one run that's going to come from the second CPI driver. Again, they need to have a 108.016 to qualify. Anything less, they will be out, and then very close margins to who's going to be top of the reserves.
I love this comment, by the way, for Mark, and I am going to share it on the stream. Choosing between CPI or NLR, it's like Man United's right wing choices, Sancho and Anthony.
So you know what? Fair comment on that one. But you know what? A valiant effort nonetheless from Sancho, because at the end of the day, I'm actually, you know what? I'm not going to go down that route. I'm just going to say it's a valiant effort from CPI. They have the right to be in this position. They got blocked. Let's see what they can do. If they end up making it through, why not have a Luton Town in the Premier League?
Yeah, why not have a Luton Town in the Premier League at all? We are still waiting for their POV, so I think it's Eagles' POV that we are waiting on. They have been granted until 25 to 10, so that's in 2 minutes' time. So if they... Oh, it's literally just come through. Literally just come through. I'm now going to watch this on my end and react to this
as well.
React to this live on stream. Now he's slow coming through Harry Lundijk. This is where it is. Harry Lundijk in towards the final corner. It looks like it's the Ferrari. And if I'm not mistaken, the Ferrari is... For the life of me, I can't tell it. I can't stream it because otherwise it'll be... the stream will die. But... yeah, that... Yeah, is all I'm going to say. That is unless it's desync potentially from the Ferrari man, that is a block, is what I will say. And if that is the case, CPI will get another run with Eagle.
Well, it's not. This is what it is, isn't it? The determination will now be from the stewards to determine, is that Ferrari actually on a hot lap? Because if the Ferrari is on a hot lap, it's not a block. They're just on a lap. So it's a determination of, what is that Ferrari doing? Is the Ferrari being lackadaisical and opened up that space and chose not to give anything for that lap? Or was they on a lap? Because if they are on a lap, at that point, I'm sorry, CPI can't have this run. So let's see what the stewards have got to say. Let's see what they determine. What is almost certain is that if it is a block, it's a penalty, because it's pretty clear as day. So let's see what the stewards have got. It is now 25-2, so the deadline has now passed. The clip is now in. Let's see what the stewards have got to say.
Judging by... I still haven't received any official word right now as it stands. If anybody is in the paddock chat on Discord, or if you do want to join the Discord, if you're not in the Legacy Division Discord, it is in the description below. So if you do want to join, you can do. Probably the perfect time, because it will save us explaining again what happened in terms of that incident, and you can watch it for yourselves. CPI Omar has just put in saying they've got another clip. So hang on a minute. They've got another clip. It is a little bit late. It looks as if... I don't know what's going on anymore. I'm kind of losing the will to live, but I'm also kind of expecting something to happen. Akos there saying in the chat, how can you overtake someone in the last corner at the final moment? That's exactly what happened, and I did catch that on stream as well. So if you do want to go and watch that back, I will try and pinpoint where it is on the stream. It is towards the end of the session. I definitely saw it on the stream, I think, either in the foreground or in the background. It's Sky's the driver in question for IRS, is the one in the outlap who goes for the move and then proceeds to block the CPI man of Eagle.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens now, isn't it? Now we're going to just make an effort to sort of try and calm down. Let's let the stewards make their decision. Let's not let this get heated, because of course there will be other teams here that will be sort of desperate that this doesn't happen. NLR is going to be the team. We'll be candid. I think we've already mentioned it. NLR are the team on the brink, and they do not want to have this opportunity squandered from them. Let's make clear, their fastest run was a 1 minute 7.926, whereas CPR's was 1 minute 7.892, which means that there is a potential that if a good lap comes in, they will knock out NLR. So it is all going to be about the pace that they've got in the car left in this final run if they get it. So let's not rush to any decisions here because this could be massive.
And also, good point actually by Igor himself, by Stonks actually in the Discord. If the Ferrari is on a lap, then the Merc has blocked him. But that is not the case because the Ferrari is the one ahead of the Merc finishing a lap. So Igor was the one preparing for lap. The Ferrari was ending his lap. But it looks as if it was, to me, as if it's Skies, and got confirmation now as if it was Skies. And to back up that point, we are getting at least some resemblance of a lobby join from Igor. Not to say it's going to be dealt with by the stewards, it is. It's all up in arms whether they're going to rerun or not, but they are going to be joining the lobby.
Igor's in.
Igor is in the lobby, and it will help if I actually check my invites because I'm now going to join the lobby as well.
Yep, no, Igor has just joined in, so we are now waiting for this determination. If he's in this lobby, I'm going to assume stewards have approved it, and if that is the situation, the Ferrari man's obviously in trouble, and this is now NLR also in probably bigger trouble now, because they would have said, right, we're through, we're all good, but we're about to get going immediately. The stewards have made their decision. Igor is getting on with it.
Yeah, Igor is getting on with it, and I'm having a few issues in my lobby. I'm not sure if I'm disconnecting or whatever, or if my PS4 is just on the absolute go slow, but all of you guys are now grayed out for me, and I am still in the spectate menu.
Ah, interesting. Well, according to me, I'm now counting down the timer, so has Igor just immediately got going, I wonder, or is my lobby potentially breaking, I wonder? I'm not sure. Either way, we are apparently in the lobby now, according to this. So
I'm not.
Are you? Oh no, there we go. The session you were trying to join and spectate is no longer available. Very interesting.
The absolute joys. The joys of being live and the joys of having to do one rerun. I think it might have been because Luke Humphreys didn't select the car. I think it might have been because of that.
Yes, only one person in there. That would make sense. You've just rejoined the lobby apparently as well. Very interesting.
Yeah, now I'm coming into the lobby itself. So that's a bit strange. I think it was just a spectate glitch potentially on my end. But we'll bring it up. We'll bring the live camera up now, going onto the track for Igor's perspective. They are Luke is talking to other people right now about what is happening in terms of the steward reports. Now, for the benefit of us, we can actually see what is going on in that conversation, which is pretty good. Hopefully, that conversation will be put in a thread and we can actually look at that and maybe get a little bit of an input. And there we are. We get another message saying the session you're trying to join in spectate is no longer available. So we need a new lobby.
Well, yeah, it looks like we've got a spectator glitch, haven't we? Because we are currently stuck, as it stands. It says there, counting down 16 minutes, 44, 43, but I got nothing. So, very odd, but that is what it is, apparently. Yeah, very odd.
Luke Humphreys has just come up in the Discord and said Igor is allowed a rerun. Now, he'll have to set up a new lobby because we can't see that rerun. So, it will be a rerun, but judging by what we are seeing on the track, you guys can see the prediction screen right now, as can we. He's allowed to do one out lap and a fast lap, but must pit at the end. We cannot join. Oh, now I'm in the lobby. Wait, what is going on?
I've just left the lobby because I do remember this being a glitch. So what I've done is I've left the lobby, which is going to allow the current spectator to get back in. I'm now going to try and join the lobby in the hope that I can also join you on this one. I think I'm going to be able to. So hopefully, fingers crossed, you should be able to see the action.
Hopefully so. I really hope we can see the action. I need another invite into the lobby as well, if that has been the case. They have been allowed, though, to do a rerun. Whether or not you guys are going to see this rerun, there was a different thing, because we're having technical issues on our end, and hopefully Mr. Luke Humphreys will be very, very kind enough. A 108.017 is needed as CPI have the fastest time right now. So a 108.017 is needed for the man of Igor, the man of CPI, to get one lap in. It's an out lap and then a fast lap, and then he has to pit in. So it's only one lap. It's essentially now, Jota, one-shot qualifying for him.
It is effectively one-shot qualifying at the moment. Now the question is Igor going? I'm now actually in the lobby here, so I can actually see what's going on. I'm trying to get some invite out to you. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be able to get that one sorted. But fingers crossed, if we could get that in, you're going to be in a position to see what I think is going to be another one of those classic laps. Because if you remember, this is exactly what happened last season as well, didn't it? We ended up having an extra lobby because people were being blocked, and then it was only one person on their own. So this is going to be a pretty fun time, I think.
Yeah, I'm bringing up my screen, by the way, just so you can guys see what's going on my end in terms of the lobby. I haven't got an invite or anything just yet coming through. I'm not sure if I might have to restart my game to get an invite through. In fact, that's what I will do. So you're going back again on the prediction screen right now. If we have to, it will be radio commentary from Mr. Jota as soon as Igor gets out on track.
I have sent you an invite, so fingers crossed you should be able to join. But we are just getting Igor, who has just left the pit lane right now. So over to Radio 5 Live now as we go on with this particular qualifying event here in Formula 1, as this is going to be an absolute blinder, I'm sure. Igor has now just gone through turn 3, and he is keeping it very steady with a bit of trail breaking in between. Fingers crossed you're in the lobby now, James.
No, I'm restarting my game.
Oh, crikey. Right, fingers crossed we'll get that one sorted. I'll send another invite for you as well. Just let me know whenever you're ready on that one. Igor is currently trail braking, keeping it nice and slow. Feel free to go a bit slower if you want. We do want to see your lap, my friend. Remember, the lap time he's looking for is a 108.017, and that is obviously going to be the lap time that will be the make or breaker for CPI, whether they qualify. And even if they can't get anywhere, above 108.017, if indeed it does manage to qualify through, it would be a absolute game changer, of course, because they may end up just being able to get into that top 8 rather, and they'll be the first ones of the reserve teams to get through. Hopefully, James, you're back online because he's about to get going with his lap.
Yes, I'm back online now, so you can send me an invite.
Right, fingers crossed we can get you in quickly. There we are, invite has been sent out, and fingers crossed we're able to get you in this lobby and watching it quickly, because Igor is getting going. He's just going around turn number 13 at the moment, going through into turn number 14, and he's just about to get going for this qualifying lap right now. It is an absolute blinder of a lap incoming, going through into Tarzan. He'll try to keep as close as he possibly can to the curb of the day, which of course is the one where I've seen a lot of people spin out earlier on. It's one of the familiar ones in the old cars as well, as he goes through the right-hander and then goes through the left-hander, and he is very close to the apexes, actually, looking fairly sharp. Sector 1 looking pretty sharp indeed now as he goes through into the checker point of the Sector 1, and the first Sector 1 lap time is a 23.891 through that first sector. Going through the second sector now, chucking it through the right-hander, and he'll be nice and tidy, fingers crossed, as he then goes through into the second part of this track. James.
Yeah, now coming through the left-hander at turn number 10, finally back in the session. We can come forward with the final half of his lap, though, on board with Igor. His middle sector split is coming in right about now, and it's a 47.387. So this is now on the borderline for Igor, the pole. Now coming through the left-hander of turn number 12. Has a poor exit coming out of there. Might be up against it now and towards Ari Lundijk. It's a 108.017 to try and beat. Igor now flying this through Ari Lundijk on the run to the line. Is he going to beat a 108.017? No, he is backed off. That is Igor backing off the session, backing out of the session, it seems, backing out of this lap time. Didn't feel like he's got another run in. Judging by the comments that are coming through from Mr. Luke Humphreys, there was plenty of time to start the lap before overtaking everyone. No pens, of course, to you, so don't worry. He must pit at the end of this lap. So he's been told by the CPI man of Omar to go in for a warm-up lap, and then he's going to come in for another run. So all of that effort, all of that hurrying about, you're going to be seeing him on track again, so don't worry.
Oh, right, okay. So that's actually really good. You know what? I'm going to say that's a good result for us. We're going to get a proper lap in. He's been able to lay some rubber down on the circuit and then have a proper lap. Here we go then. So we've got you in. We can actually see this one. James, what is Igor's stance, do you reckon, on this? Do you reckon it's going to be Go all out, take a gamble, or be conservative where he knows that he struggles?
Go all out, take a gamble, and you never know what can pull off. I think at this point, a 108 flat, compared to the likes of NLR who are potentially going to be out, it's ideally they were setting around 107.9s, 108 flat. So it is possible from Igor. He has got this, everything in between him. I know I saw an outlet from him on social media, I'm pretty sure. And it was a 108, and it was a 107.8. So he has got this in the bottle. But of course, that was on time trial. This is on online, and online is already a couple of tenths different in between the sessions. So if Igor can prove that and he can get that outlet bin, he will be right there or thereabouts. But in terms of mentality, his mental state and CPI's mental state are going to be completely and utterly all over the place. I do not know what they're going on thinking. And Eagles actually just came in on the Discord and said, this is going to be embarrassing as hell if I F this.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't mention the particular comment he's mentioned there. That's what made me laugh a little bit. But he says that that could have been a 0.9. You know, obviously, is that a little bit of game playing potential? I don't know what games he can be playing because he's on his own. But it is certainly CPI smiling from ear to ear here. They think they've got an opportunity as Luke Humphries is now going to go on a lap himself. And he is going to have a go at trying to qualify for the WOR Legacy Division as he's just going to turn into the pit lane exit, and he's going to have a go at this one. And Luke Humphries himself managing to win the World Darts Championship, as you pointed out earlier. What's he going to be like in a Formula 1 car, I wonder?
I wonder as well. Let's see what Luke Humphries can do. Surely it's going to be a better attempt than our classic cars for around here.
It's a valiant effort, isn't it? If we try and if he never say it's a valiant effort, not that hard. If he gets a better effort than what we managed to achieve in the F2007. Have a look at our Twitter, by the way, at the end of this one, because we are going to publish our little championship we've got for this one. Pretty clear cut, to be fair. You know, we're all going to race in F2007, and at some tracks throughout the calendar, we're just going to try and see who's better off in the F2007 around the certain circuits. And first one is at the Netherlands, so we'll publish that on our Twitter at Jota, at PGSJ Head, of course, and of course don't forget to follow us at WR League as well. WR World Live, Luke Humphries, he's going out on the circuit at the moment to lay some rubber down on the circuit, so gives Igor the best opportunity, of course, to try and qualify with a potential victory for the CPI team, as it looks like he's just taken control now of the car as Luke Humphries, and we'll see how he does now.
Yeah, let's run on board with them. Let's commentate a lap on board with the WR owner, Mr. Luke Humphries himself, now coming through the right-hander at turn number 3 at Hugenholz, and now into the bank in at turn number 4. Looking good so far, coming to that part of the track. Of course, won in Qatar, I think, in WR Console Tier 6, if I'm not mistaken, off the back of my archiving there. And Mr. Luke Humphries going even quicker than me, I think, in that first sector. 25.8 in that first sector. Already getting the tyres, of course, on the track and getting the tyre pretty much warmed in and weathered in to the surface of the temperatures. And, of course, we're right against the North Sea. And at this time of year, it's very, very cold. But, of course, it is clear weather. It's going to be baking out around the 30-degree mark, I would think, out on track. A 50.9 in middle sector from Luke Humphries. This is going to be the fastest the fastest time that we've seen all night here in WR Legacy Division. I'm really living above hope for that one. Now coming through the final corner at Ari Lundijk at turn 13 and 14. We'll see what Mr. Luke Humphries can do on this lap time. It should be around a 1:13, I think, in terms of this. Yeah, 1:13.3 to start off the session. Pole position for Luke Humphries right now with 6 minutes to go.
It's pole position for Luke Humphries of one of only 2 drivers out in the field. I have a feeling that might have been his AI, actually. I'll be honest with you. How the steering wheel is currently being manipulated around the circuit, and how the acceleration is very peculiar, to say the least. So I think it is just an AI just plopping some more rubber down on the circuit. So I've got a bit over 5 minutes to go before Igor will head out on his circuit, his final circuit lap, of course, and try and get CPI through to the next round of WOR Legacy. So, you know, what is in CPI's head right now? They've got a driver who thought he could have actually qualified with that particular lap that he did beforehand, but he's been told, no, you've got to pit it, you're getting 1 attempt, and we're laying as much rubber down on circuit as we can. And Luke will be coming into the pit lane, or Luke's AI will be coming in, and it will be all about that Mercedes moving forward.
I will. CPI Fraser, by the way, out on in the comment section saying the scenes if Luke blocks Eagle. Imagine that for a twist.
Yeah, there we are. He's just at the last second diving into the pit lane, and that is some rubber laid down on circuit with 5 minutes to go. Igor, it's down to you, sir.
It is down to him indeed. Yeah, mentality, I think, it's going to be really sinking in. This is going to be possibly the hardest, hopefully the best lap that he's done in his league racing career. This is one-shot qualifying for him right now. And it's the same as Juventus Racing last season with their driver.
Yeah.
And their driver exactly how to say it. I think it was Lars, if I'm not mistaken, just off the top of my head. And he got blocked twice and had a third lobby, and then the lobby crashed, and then we had to do a fourth rerun. And everything went to pot in terms of Juventus Racing. They didn't get through. And if they didn't get through, it was only by, I think, hundredths of a second. This is what we're talking about again. Same comparison, albeit a couple of months later with Igor and CPI. CPI are in the position of their own destiny right now. It's all up to the pole, man. And I know for a fine fact, if the pole can actually do this for CPI, and CPI are the 10th team in Legacy Division this season, I'll tell you what, it's absolute credit to their consistency, their credit to their team outset as well. I put in my notes that they could be outsiders to qualify. I also said in my notes that they're very good in terms of team events, and I said that at the start of Lobby 4. And look where we are now. Igor has got a chance not to be a real hero for CPI, and he will go down in the team's history as probably being their absolute GOAT if he does this.
Well, CPI were actually the team that I put through as outsiders as well in my notes. I thought that they could be somewhere to watch. I put them, purely because I'll be candid, you know more about them than I do because with the platform that they're on. But I do have heard of, the reckonings that they have had. And you know what? They are a team that I would have thought that could have potentially breathed down the neck of those in the top 10, or top 7 in this case. So this could be something to watch here. And even if they don't qualify, they're certainly going to be up there with, the first reserves. And I think the Cedar Phoenix, are going to be so happy if they manage to make, this opportunity work. 2 and a bit minutes to go. I would expect Igor is going to be out any second now.
Yeah, I'd assume he'll be out around the 2.5 minute mark just to try and get a lap time on the board and then maybe go again if he's allowed to. I'm not sure if he will be allowed to, but here he comes. He's coming out on track right now. The pole, my friends, my best of luck, because I would not want to be in this position right now, having 139 people watching this right now. I do not know what's going through CPI's head. I do not know what's going through Eagle's head right now, but I hope he's got this level of zen about him and this vibe that all good things are going to happen. And I really, really wish CPI well, no matter what the result is going to be. He has done his team proud. He has done himself proud. He has done everyone that is watching proud as well, no matter what the outcome is. And as I say, this is a very good opportunity at a stage like this in one of the biggest console tier events out there, if not the biggest console tier event out there. This is a very, very good platform to have CPI on, because you might necessarily not know much about them, Jota. On the PlayStation, on the PlayStation side, we certainly do, and CPI have been very consistent in terms of their team events. This is now all up to this man right here. I really wish him well. I'm praying that he does this, but there's also a side of me thinking, if he doesn't do this, then we're going to be losing a big team.
Yeah, we are going to be losing a big team if he gets this, and I think that will also be added pressure, knowing that, am I going to be able to get CPI, not just on the PlayStation side, but on Xbox as well. This is a cross-play tournament, and CPI could be getting some big viewership from this particular lap. He's coming around the final couple of corners, and he's going to get going, James, for what is going to be, we hope, the lap of his life.
The lap of his life. This all depends on it. CPI's participation in Legacy Division depends on it as well. Running down in towards turn number 1 with Igor Jelen. The pole now sets his sight on Tarzan. In towards turn number 1. Through the right-hander. Neatly done. Coming out of Tarzan at turn 1. Right to the curb nicely. Now in towards Hugenholt for first real test on the track through turn 3. And then into the banking at turn number 4. One oversteer moment out of there. Absolutely crisp as, though, from Igor coming up the hill. This should be around a 23.6 in the first sector from Igor. 23.8 to slightly off, but he is up on this time. This is looking good so far from Igor. Now through the right-hander of turn number 8. And now into turn number 9, clips the curb on the right-hand side. It just knocks the car back slightly, loses him a bit of time. And again, coming out of turn number 9, just rides the curb slightly. Now through the circuit Zandvoort corner at turn 10. This is now absolutely game time for Igor. Coming through this middle sector, 47.2, he's on it. 47.2 is a brilliant final, it's a brilliant middle sector. Now coming through the left-hand at turn number 12, and then in towards Arie Lundijk box at turns 13 and 14. Doesn't want to invalidate here. This is looking good for Igor. He could do this, you know. Coming through the final corner, on the run to the line from Igor. Does he do it to the line? Yes, he does. 107 and 972. Igor Jelen is an absolute hero for CPI. Fantastic lap time from him under all of that pressure. All of that from Igor with a 107.972. My God, I want to go to Poland and absolutely shake his hand because he did a fantastic job. He does it. Unlike Juventus Racing last season, CPI have done it. They're the 10th team in Legacy Division. Absolute hero is Igor Jelen.
Cedars Phoenix Igniters, welcome to WOR Legacy. You have ignited your premiership into the top 10 teams of the world. And that would mean, of course, and this is all included, the top teams in the reserves are NLR. They are out of Legacy and will be the first team called up in the case of reserves, followed by WOR, followed by G League. So there are your top 10 in the end, and it is going to be an absolute blinder of a championship based on what we've just seen there. Novus, ET8, TF10, and then you include the top 3 as well. I have a real sneaking suspicion we potentially have got 5, maybe even 6 teams fighting it out for a championship tonight, championship this season. This is going to be an absolute blinder. I cannot wait for the season ahead.
I've got genuine tears in my eyes just because of that lap. That was absolutely incredible. And I tell you what, as I say, under all of that pressure, not to crack like that takes some balls, quite literally, around here. Yeah. And Zandvoort is a tricky track. It's a tricky track for the best of drivers to negotiate sometimes. Not only a driver like Igor, who's a little bit off the pace, albeit towards everyone else, but that is the lap that will go down in Legacy Division history. That is the lap time that sealed CPI their 7th spot in qualifiers, their 10th spot overall in Legacy Division. Absolutely phenomenal work. And we can have a run through now while we will run and get everything sorted in terms of the spreadsheet. We'll confirm that shortly. But baptism of fire for Igor there. Baptism of fire for our drivers in round 1 of the championship in Monaco, where a source in Louis Valentin took the win by 20 seconds last season. How on earth are the drivers going to cope with Monaco? And how on earth are CPI going to cope after that?
Monaco at night, and if with the luck as anything's got to go by, without any kind of assists, maybe the rain will stop falling as well. That is going to be a hell of a season starter with those teams in such a close proximity of each other. I am so happy for the Cedar Phoenix Igniters to qualify through in that final spot. It means, of course, that they will join EPL as well, who have also managed to qualify through. I will let you go through the qualifying, teams, because I think it's definitely something that needs to be led here, but we did not expect, neither of us, not even Luke expected, the Cedar Phoenix Igniters to qualify. They have done it, and I am so happy to see a team like them get through. That is going to be an absolute blinder of a championship ahead of us. I'm looking forward to this one.
I am so bloody proud of that man right now. I'm absolutely proud as punch. One of my highlights in my commentary career, getting to commentate on a lap under so much pressure, and for him to deliver on the biggest stage of them all, absolute credit where credit's due on that. In the end, top 7 teams getting through, covered by about 0.5 of a second in the end. NVR out on top by 1/100th of a second from ET8, who were second. No surprise with Renz and Matteo and their lap times in qualifiers. 3rd place in the end for Team TF10. Ones to watch out for, certainly with a combined time of a 1:15.607. And then we had fourth TTM who get through. Well done to you, Jota, and Luke on that one. TTM getting through in fourth on 50 with a 15.635. Then a bit of a jump down, actually, considering the consistency that we had throughout the night. BRT are fifth. Remember from Lobby 2, BRT are fifth on a 15.82 in the end in terms of cumulative time. They're ending up fifth. EPL, I'm very happy that I got that one right because that was the one I was unsure about. EPL in sixth on a combined time of a 1:15.84, and then CPI knocking out NLR. They are not going to live that one down, NLR. They are going to be first reserve, however. 300ths of a second between NLR and CPI. CPI are the ones getting through with a combined time of a 1:15.864 at a 1:15.909. Just minimal margins between CPI and NLR. And then in the end, 16 flats from the likes of WOR, G League, and FRT, who were 9th, 10th, and 11th in qualifiers as well. So from the top seven were covered by 0.4 of a second, pretty much dead on. Everyone else in behind Jota, from a 15.9, sorry, to a 16 flat, there were 4 teams in it within 1/10 of a second.
Say it'd be hundredths of a second, wasn't it, that determines who gets through and who gets out in the end. And I think one thing that NLR will be looking at that and be saying 7.9, yeah, we're through, we're no issue at all. No, every 100th of a second counts, and that is the make or breaker. I did say, didn't I, as well, about, you know, if you're in the 108s, you can probably count yourself out of qualifying as a result of that one. And the biggest example of that one, FRT. 7.977, and then 8.1 was enough to send them down to 11th place. So they're now the 4th choice of selection of reserve teams, which, considering that they qualified last season, is a massive drop. G League, again, 3rd fastest out of all of them, so they'll be the 3rd reserves as well in that one. So they will not be happy with that result as well. But I tell you, there will be some teams that will be happy that they qualified where they are. WOR Esports, 2nd choice for reserve, is a great effort from the outfit that we're looking to rebuild after such a tumultuous time in the esports world. To be 2nd choice, great effort from the home team. You've got to be on it. You've got to be candid here.
Definitely so. And as I say, every team had their profiles widened. Nobody had heard of probably FGE, the likes of XPG as well, and every single team gets a platform to do what they do best, and that is the passion of motorsport, the passion of sim racing, and everyone is shared in that passion here tonight. No matter where your background is from, no matter what team you're supporting, everyone is on the same wavelength, and everyone, I am sure, will love what is to come in Legacy Division Season number 4. There will be content produced before the season starts. That's in 2 weeks' time, of course, in Monaco. We've got a few interesting new additions to Legacy Division as well, which we probably haven't got time to go for, but the stars on the bottom of the graphic indicate what is where. Sprint race in Qatar, in Las Vegas, and in Australia, rounds 2, 7, and 12. Custom weather is going to be guaranteed in Bahrain, and that is it for custom weather. 2 short qualifying and 2 sprint 35% races are happening in France and China. That is on round 8, dead in the middle of the season, and that is before Spain at round 9. And then what we'd like to do, Jota, is reveal a track on stream, like we did in 24 Hours of F1 with the mystery tracks. It's a bit like that, because round 13, unlucky for some, on April the 30th, is the track that is going to be revealed on stream. And for the life of me, I'm just going to say right now, I hope it's Portugal.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hope it's Portugal as well. Portugal will be an absolute blinder around there as well, especially straight after sprint race in Australia. So that's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to the 2 short qualifying 235% double header at France and China as well. 2 very different tracks, isn't it? So those drivers have got to get themselves prepared for 2 completely different circuits. You know, I'm certainly looking forward to seeing what that's going to bring. But for me, it is all going to be about Qatar. I absolutely adore Losail as a circuit, and it is a tyre shredder. The tyres are going to be shredded. They've got a sprint race to deal with as well. At the end of it, they're going to pull up at the number 1 board on rims. That's going to be fun. So I'm looking forward to that. And of course, custom weather at Bahrain. Chuck some rain down on Bahrain's going to bring a bit of a spicy affair. This is going to be an absolute blinder. 2 weeks away, though I'm looking forward to it.
It is going to be an absolute blinder, and I really hope we've still got 77 viewers, by the way. I really hope that all of you are going to tune in for season 4 of Legacy Division, starting in 2 weeks' time. We are going to be busy ants in the background doing content and everything. We're going to be writing up scripts. We're going to be writing up commentary notes. That means I'm going to now have to produce a 50-page document for every single team and driver to go through for next season, which is going to be the absolute love of my life for the next 2 weeks. But I really hope you did enjoy that stream. That lap from Igor will go down as the highlight for many here tonight. But I really hope, no matter what team you were part of, and no matter what your bias was towards any of the teams either, I really hope you got a share in the passion for motorsport, in the passion of sim racing, and in what we all love to do, and that's be here, commentate from our perspective on Legacy Division, and be here and just witness the moment, because that is what we struggle with sometimes, I think, in life, where we do not witness those moments. And a moment like Eagle setting that lap time and getting CPI through, that will forever live in Legacy Division history. We are going to end off, though. I am done waffling on. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. Tick that notification bell, of course, if you're brand new to the channel. Myself and Jota will be back with you in 2 weeks' time in Monaco for season number 4 of Legacy Division. You can check out all of our partners, GridFinder, Next Level Racing. You'll see their adverts very shortly indeed. That is it from us. Until 2 weeks' time in Monaco, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, goodbye.